All right, go for it.
So this is episode 20 of the Open Hearth Cast. We are here with Tim Brown, and our guest today is Mr. Niels van der Berg from Black Dragon Forge. How you doing, Niels?
Good and self, buddy.
Sweet, man. It's good to see you.
Apparently, you get here.
That took long enough, didn't it?
Well, you got to drive through like 17 municipalities just to get to Niels's.
That's a true story. That is an absolute true story.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, so we've been looking forward to this for a while. I first spoke to you about it at Durban Eastern Knife Show, and yeah, we were there obviously to show support that side.
We're here. Right.
But yeah,
Shoot, buddy. Don't worry about me.
so yeah, a couple of things we wanted to sort of get into.
But yeah, before we get into that,
Yeah, what did you want to get into?
what have you been doing the last
Oh, what have I been doing?
in knife making terms? Because we know you probably are getting up to nothing, no good.
Just with everything else.
I went on a camping trip the other day over the weekend, and that was great.
Sweet.
Wild group of people.
Where did you go?
Wild group of people. We went out toward Magaliesburg, I think it was. And there was a 60th birthday that was going on there, and there was a wild group of people, man, doing like LSD and shrooms and fucking weed. Crazy motherfuckers.
So not a lot of knife making happened
Not a
then.
lot of knife making happening.
Excellent.
A lot of baking happening. Like waking and baking. Like I saw this one dude. He gets out of his tent in the morning and he just lights a joint. Like I see him just get out of his tent. He's still in his PJs and his slippers and he lights a joint.
So that
I'm
was
like,
his brushing his teeth.
That's his brushing his teeth, bro. He's
Well,
like,
everyone's got to have their morning routines,
oh
right?
my gosh, it's crazy. But I mean, anyway, that was what I was getting up to, and then we made Damascus at Grant's the
Yeah,
other
we
day.
made some
That was
Damascus the other
amazing.
day.
Hmm.
I still have to turn that Damascus into a knife, but it was fun because Grant's got old Jacques Mungus's old power hammer.
Yeah.
That Olsen, it's a 40 kilogram.
That's a nice little beast.
That's
man.
nice.
It works, Darcy, and he's also got one of Garth's hydraulic presses.
I
So
saw.
We
I
use
saw.
both, and he's got a ribbon burner forge now. Which,
Oh, nice.
which it burns still.
It burns very nicely. It was the first time. Look, I've made Damascus with Jack before, but it's the first time that I've done majority of the work myself.
Okay.
Mm.
So that was an interesting experience. Like setting the weld, Jack generally does that for me, and like we make Damascus together, but he does predominant
Yeah, where
majority of the work.
you play the appy,
Where I play Appy. Yes, exactly.
the third hand.
I'm just, and sometimes the guy that gets in the way a lot of the time. Oh my word! There's this one video where I'm taking a video of Jack, and I thought he was trying to show me the bullets, and he's like, "Trent, can you just get the fuck out of the way?"
Like, it happens, man. It happens. I mean, you two guys, when you work together, are you a hindrance for each other, or are you complementing? Are you assisting each other?
Well, the thing is, we communicate what we need from each other when we're working together.
So that's it. So the more time you work with someone,
yes,
the more they learn the routine, especially if it's. But making Damascus is something new for you, you say?
yes.
So the more you make it, especially with Jack, for instance, you will learn the routine, and then you will become helpful.
Well,
It's like anything. Training and acting takes time, but
it does. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the smithy with him the other day, helping him out, and we were just moving like fluid compared to the last times that I'd been working with him. We were just moving fluid, like it was a great experience because you're always so conscious of where to be because it's hot steel moving around. That like it's pretty stressful.
Yeah, the worst case scenario, you get a couple of 30-degree burns. Man.
Yeah.
There's two types of bladesmiths: those who've been burnt and those who are going to be burnt again. I'm the second one.
Yeah, this happened 4 weeks ago. So those two. And then that one was 2 weeks ago.
When you were casting bronze.
No. It's all Damascus.
All Damascus. Okay.
Yeah. And the bullets are just big, really, really big. Sorry, man.
No worries. You think it's manly when you've been saying like I've been burnt by a campfire, but when you've been burnt by Damascus, that's just another kind
the
of manly.
difference between 400 degrees and 1,400.
Yeah.
Very few people actually realize what 1,400 degrees is. Seriously, when you cannot, I mean, you've got two sets of gloves on, right? Not just a single pair of grinder gloves. You've got two sets of heat-resistant gloves that were made for the job on, and you pick the bullet up, and you can, when it's half a meter away from you can literally feel your beard singed.
Jeepers.
You guys are going to have to edit that out.
No,
Sorry,
that's
man.
all right. That's all right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hello? Delivery from building.
Thank you.
Deliveries.
Real time.
Real time.
Real time. Real
This is
talk.
not bad. We only paid for that about a half an hour ago. So that's brilliant.
We can get them to sponsor the podcast. Give them a shout out.
Well, I've noticed, like, when I'm forging, normally in forging, I only have a glove on the left hand because that's my tongue hand. And my hammer hand never has a glove on because it just messes your arm up.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
it
because
tires
you
you
used
up.
to stroking.
Yeah, I know. I like it rough, eh? But I've noticed when you're doing Damascus, when you've got power hammers and presses, then you wear both gloves. And those, even when you're just moving the billet around in the forge, you've got to take the gloves off
Yeah.
because they get too hot.
Yeah.
It's hot, man. It's hot.
It's very hot.
And yourself, what have you been doing, Tim?
I've been mostly fucking around. Now, I've been working on some knives, and then I've been practicing engraving and copper inlay
I've seen on Instagram.
with old or the Japanese style with little hammers and chisels and
Iron
battling with
brushing.
thumb cramp.
It
And
gets better over time.
yeah, I got myself a pitch bowl
Yeah.
at the end of May. But because I work for Denel and they don't like paying salaries, I only managed to get my pitch for my pitch bowl about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So now I can set things and I don't have to use a dodgy vise. And I noticed immediately when I changed from the dodgy vise to the pitch bowl, you don't have to hit as hard
It's more stable.
because it's more stable and you can literally tap. And I made 3 hammers. I don't know the weights of them, but it's a 12 mil square, a 14 mil square, and a 16 mil square, and they're too heavy. I work mostly with a 12 mil, so I need to make something a little bit smaller because I worked out it's about 40 grams. And when I was speaking to Sam Towns, he says his go-to hammer that he uses the most is 19 grams for the hammer and chisel engraving.
Okay. Have you spoken with Tian Burger?
No, I haven't. I spoke to him briefly at Brooklyn last year.
Yeah.
And he put me onto a YouTube channel. There's a guy in the UK who does painting with the iron brush. Ford Hallam, yeah.
You know, he's a South African boy.
Okay.
Yeah, born and bred in Cape Town.
Okay. But I've been watching some of his videos and stuff, but
That guy, worldwide, according to me, my not so humble opinion, is the best out there, man. Seriously.
and you can see he does everything precisely.
If it's worth doing, it's worth doing.
It's like even
well.
if he's I saw a video where he was
Even
making,
if you fuck up.
Well, that's
doing
part of
well.
the journey, isn't it?
he was just showing how he shapes a specific graver, and then after he's finished with the file, he like sweeps it up because cleanliness is next to godliness is what he said. He said
Exactly.
it's just
he's a jeweler.
jeweler, yeah.
So classically trained jeweler, and there's you can't produce. Well, this is according to my mind. You can't produce clinical work if you're working in a pigsty.
Yeah.
Fucking impossible.
Well,
Your mind will reflect in your work.
And my mind is what my workshop looks like. Chaos.
That's true. That's true.
Take the time, clean out the shop. It's going to take you days. Don't try to do everything in a big bang. Take a section, clean that up.
Yeah.
Done. Because you will change it over time.
Yeah.
I mean, my shop, the setup changes on a weekly basis based on what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just like production work. You
you
set up the production line and then you do that job and you don't do anything else until that job's done. Done. And then you change and you go on to the next thing.
Well, I was talking to Tim about this during the course of many podcasts. It's like you don't like I always used to be watching your stories and seeing, yes, this guy's at it again. He's moving his shit around again. Like I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, where does this guy find the time?
Sorry, I'm freezing my ass off.
Does he just get bored or what's the story? And then when I had my own workshop and when I started sorting shit out, I probably sorted that workshop about 7 times before I was happy with it. And I'm still not entirely happy with it.
So have a little notebook
Yeah.
where you take notes.
Yes.
So whenever you do something and you're thinking, you know what, this isn't optimal. Make a little note. I want to change my bench. I want to change the setup. I want to do whatever. You know what? I actually should put a light here. Write it down.
Yes.
Because those little moments are just going to go.
Yeah,
and when you write them down, get into that habit.
Yes.
And now you know you need to work, but you don't want to work.
Yeah.
But you can't afford to just go and surf YouTube or fucking Instagram or Facebook for the next 2 hours until you maybe feel inspired.
No.
So you go to that list and you pick a small little project, fixing the light.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually have the cable and the blah, blah, blah. And when you're doing that, you're increasing your productivity, but in the long run.
Yeah.
Because the next time you're not going to go to that machine, it's easier. You flip the light, done, and then you realize, oh, you know what?
This actually works well. This was pretty
and then you start cleaning around that machine. And you keep it clean. And the reason, I don't know, for me, the reason things get cluttered in the shop is because there's no organization. And for 90% of knife makers, what I've seen over the years is guys will buy the most expensive machine, which is normally the grinder. And there's nothing in the garage except the car. And they start filling it with shit. Knife maker, whatever, the collector. We're not knife makers, we're actually knife thing collectors. In other words, we collect knife steels, we collect woods, we collect fucking
pinning material, fucking steels,
whatever, and they all just get piled.
Yeah.
What you should be doing is collecting shelving.
Yes.
But anyway, so the grinder gets put in a quarter, all right, and then the entire thing evolves around it. But no one sits back and saying, "Look, is it the really the best spot for it?" All right, or the grinder, because it was the most expensive investment, get prime position, where you don't spend that a lot of time behind the grinder, man. On a knife, maybe 10% is spent behind the grinder.
Sure.
Or 20% if you cock.
No, because if you cock, the other things are going to be cock as well. And I mean, it leads back to the whole philosophy about saying it's cock. It's a cock knife is either cock expensive, whether it was to make it. All right, the experience that you got into it, it is cock moi. Especially if you speak to me, everything that I create, I think it looks beautiful. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can do your thing, buddy. And then it's cock scab. Yeah, and that's it. There is all knives are cock knives. Yeah, especially if you take. I spoke to Bert Rietveld a couple of years ago about what he would do, or was there a knife that he regretted selling? And he looked at me like I was stupid and said, no, because at every single point when a knife was finished, he was happy with the knife and that's why he sold it. But now looking back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, if he could get his hands on all of those old knives, he would buy them back and destroy them. Because where he's at now versus back then, he can't stand to look at them.
Right. It's a hard thing to do.
As soon as you realize that what you produced 10 years ago is not where you're at now, you can't measure backward, you have to measure forwards.
Well, when I was down...
Unless the stuff that you did 10 years ago is exactly the same as the stuff you're doing now, then you need to ask yourself that question again.
Well, I went down to PE to visit my parents, and my mom asked me to sharpen a kitchen knife made for her in 2017.
Yeah.
And back then it was just okay knife for what I was doing.
Yeah.
And when she gave it to me, it's like, this thing got a block rectangular handle. It's like, it's hard. But it's still, it's history. So it
does the job. It performs the function.
Yeah. And it for me, it was something special because it was one of the early knives that I made that I gave to my mom as a Christmas present. And to see it again and just to sharpen it for her on an old oil stone, because I didn't have any knife making equipment there.
That's a skill. A skill I have. I don't want to say even mastered. I know how to kind of hack an edge onto a knife with an oil stone. I know masters with Kevin Harvey. He was a couple of years ago. He really wanted to teach me how to do that. And I was very cocky, and I said, "Well, I know how to sharpen a knife on a belt grinder." And I could get a razor edge on a knife in seconds on a belt grinder, and I still can. But now thinking back, dumbass, I should have sat down and listened to what the master had to say and taken the lesson. But it boils back to everything in what we do. There's an old philosophizing. We're now going to do the philosophy thing. Where in yoga, where there's a saying that says the teacher will appear when the student is ready to learn.
Okay.
And I see that and that's one of the main reasons why I dropped 90% of the Facebook groups and the WhatsApp groups and blah, blah, blah. I just pulled myself out because I got highly irritated with idiots asking the same fucking question over and over and over when it's been answered 20 fucking times by the best guy in the industry. Yeah, but they need to understand that the guy that gave the answer is the best in the industry. There's almost no one better explaining how to do that than this guy just did. Yet they want to go listen to their history teacher or their mates that know less than they do. Yeah. So I just had to pull back, and I must say that I've been a happier man. Since, man.
I tend to. The only time I go on to knife groups is when I'm posting my shit, because I don't like to.
No. You need to give the love that you expect.
Yeah.
In other words, if you're going on to a knife group, and I see this over the month. It's something that I've been conscious of about the last 2 months when I scroll through local knife maker groups. All right. There's people that just forward shit to the group. They never add any content. I don't know what the fuck they're expecting. If someone made a knife, he's posting it to 50 groups, hoping that another knife maker is going to fucking buy his knife or tell him how beautiful it is. And he doesn't even respond to it. So I don't know.
I think
so. Social media, main thing there is social. Yeah. When you just forward your shit over, you posted it to your page, and now you're just sharing. Don't do that. Go to the group, post the thing there, say something that relates to that target audience of that group.
The reason I don't spend much time on the groups is because I have a pet hate for what is prachtig frikkie.
Yeah, well then don't say it's prachtig.
Yeah, that's why I just scroll. I don't say anything because
but if that's what you're doing, then that's what people are going to do to your posts. Is that what you want on your posts?
No, I don't want someone to say prachtig. I want
so teach your community. Not to tell you got to made a nice fucking knife. Ask a question when you post, which will lead people away from what do you think of the wood I used on this?
Yes.
Or I used a 1.6 millimeter brass pin here. Do you guys believe it would have added any aesthetics if I used, for instance, 3.2 mil stainless pins or Kobe bolts?
Kobe bolts, yeah. Okay.
Where you're getting an opinion from someone, which starts as a conversation.
You create interaction rather than just
not so much about a flex. It's more about wanting to learn more. About
if you're on social media to flex, you've missed the fucking point completely.
I know that, but I'm saying that there's genuinely people out there who want to just flex.
Yeah, of course. And then go have a look at the amount of people that actually engage with them.
Yeah.
You'll find ultra fanboys, and that's it.
So on Niels' site, there's lots of ultra fanboys.
No, not really, because 3%. We actually had this discussion yesterday. Less than 3% of my followers on Instagram are local.
Okay.
Less than 3%. Are local.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the aim. That was the design of it from day one.
I
mean, you can either be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond.
I'm glad
small fish in a big pond surviving means more.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that Tim and I wanted to get into is the business of knife making and the details of that.
All right. So that statement in itself, let's pull that apart.
Right.
There is no business in knife making. Knife making is fucking knife making.
Yeah.
The business of knife making has got nothing to do with knife making. As a maker, you are creating a product.
Yes.
As a business, the aim of business is to
make money.
You do that through a basic. You buy something, add a markup or a profit, and then sell it. Well, add a markup and then sell it, and you make a profit. Yeah. If you're not turning a profit, you are running a non-profit organization. Which is something that hopefully no knife maker should be doing. Well, anyone in business. We're in business to make money, and to make money, you need to sell. Well, buy and sell. As the maker, you are now the manufacturer and the sales guy.
Can I ask
and the manufacturer and the sales guy should split, number one, that bond you have with that child you've just created.
Yes.
Yeah, because
and no one is going to pay you for 20 fucking hours of hand sanding. Just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
You're not a fucking programmer. You can't
Mm.
account for your time that you've spent on it.
This is the thing I wanted to discuss with you about knife making and being a knife maker and all of that jazz. It's like what you just said there, if I understood you correctly, is that
The
you
business
are
of knife making is the business. It's not the knife making.
Hold on. What I'm trying to say here is I'm saying that you making the product, but you also have to be the salesman for your own product. And so how have you done that? Because what you've done is quite exceptional.
But I don't sell my stuff.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you've created yourself you've turned yourself into this brand, which part of that brand is you. When people look at Black Dragon Forge, they do look at you as the persona of the Black Dragon Forge brand.
No, Black Dragon Forge is the company that creates it. That's it.
Yes.
And I'm just a guy that works there. Niels van der Berg is the knife maker.
Okay.
Black Dragon Forge creates forges. Nothing more, nothing less. We create forges, and I use it to as a springboard for other business opportunities, like for instance the casting furnaces and blah 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 blah. No, because Niels van der Berg uses the Black Dragon Forge facility to teach the class.
Okay.
You don't come for a Black Dragon Forge class. You come with a class for with Niels van der Berg,
Okay.
American Bladesmith Society, journeyman smith, and member of the South African Knife Makers Guild, where I'm selling my achievements to get people into the class, so that they know it's not just Joe Soap. It's got no fucking background in what he's doing, blah, 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 blah. And the same thing with the forges. If you're buying a Black Dragon Forge, you're buying 12 years worth of experience in building, manufacturing, client liaison, blah, blah, after-sales service. I've been around for 12 years. I've used that equipment that I'm building
For 12.
to get to where I'm at.
Yeah.
So if there's one guy that can tell you more about my forges in this country, it would probably be Stuart Smith. Because he's been using it for the last 12 years as well.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So becoming an authority on a subject is what sells shit.
Right.
Yeah, because people don't buy knives. They buy into who you are. Let's just talk about just general marketing.
That's what I was referring to.
Why do people buy my shit? Because I don't sell it. I don't actively advertise my knives. But the forges, holy crap. If you follow me on Instagram, well, not on Instagram, on Facebook, I punt forges 3 times a day because it's my business. I need to sell those things. I can't sell them if people don't know of them. So I'm a member of, I think it's 1,300 groups on freaking Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've got a schedule. And I post 9 in the morning, 12 in the afternoons, 3 in the afternoons, and 7 in the evenings. Done. And I post to 20 groups in each of those sessions. Bunting, forges, and casting furnaces. That's it. Now and then I'll throw a class if it's somewhere in a 50-kilometer radius from me or 100-kilometer radius. I will pop an advert for the classes in there. But then also you need to understand that people for the classes is a different beast.
Yeah.
So people, when they look at classes, middle of the month. So I punt classes the first week of the month and the last week of the month.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing in between.
It doesn't pay to do it in between.
If it's a 5-week month, then that middle week, nothing gets done. I don't even advertise anything because that's a long ass month.
Yeah.
And you will see on the last of the month, I'll also not advertise because people generally don't have on a 5-week month won't have money to throw around because there's an extra fucking week to be deal with.
Yeah.
Where February, for instance, start punting for February and just December already.
Yeah.
So if I've got a specific class in February, I will start punting that class in January or in December.
Right.
Yeah, because the people still have to get through the 12 weeks of January.
Yes. But February and then April, same thing. Very small month, very short month.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm jumping around here.
No, look.
The business of knife making and knife making. Business you run as a business. Yeah. So you can't run a business off of Excel.
No.
Can you?
No, you can't.
Well, you can.
You could.
But
because I have your spreadsheet that you did on costing a blade.
Yes. And are you using that?
I do use it when I do a custom order, because I know when I do a custom order, then I know they want a Damascus or a carbon steel, and then I can work it into the cost, and I know what belts I need to use, and the cost.
So have you now come down to an average cost per blade per centimeter?
No, I haven't looked at.
Why not?
Because I never thought about it.
Why not? If it works, it's worth improving.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
If it wasn't for that, if it works, it's worth improving mindset, we'd still be driving fucking Model T Fords.
True.
Everyone.
True.
Yeah.
Incidentally, it's the same guy, Henry Ford,
Mhm.
that came up with the whole production line, moving production line.
Yeah. His claim to fame wasn't the car itself; it was the system behind the car. So
That should be fucking the intro to this thing, to your podcast. Every single time, that should be your ringtone, man. The system behind it.
Yeah.
Everything
because
has
there
a
was
system behind it.
there was a lot of, at that stage, there was quite a few companies that could make a car, but he just decided, if you want to go to increase your volume or to get that bigger market, you need to do things more efficiently. That's
And
why
by
you
doing
could get,
them more efficiently, it'll become cheaper, and you could offer a better quality at a cheaper price and put it into more people's hands, therefore doing
More
brand
recognition,
penetration.
Yeah.
Because he was a no-name brand.
And it was also, you could have it in any color as long as it's black.
Yeah, well, that was just kept his paint bill very low.
Yeah, I mean, at those stages, they don't have the fancy stuff that they do now.
No, but what also you will see, yes, sure. What you will see, sorry?
Where do they need to unload?
Where's my small gravel?
Yeah.
Next to the power hammers, please. Thanks, buddy. Where was I going with this?
Brand penetration.
in the color.
Black is one of the most difficult colors to get a perfect body panel.
Wow.
I don't know if you know that.
I don't know. I know that black cars show
So it also
dirt the quickest.
It was a brag.
Okay.
Oh wow. So he was
And-
flexing.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Motherfucker.
Well, if you could get it right with black, then eventually you could get it right with any color.
No, but then why would you want to paint it any other color?
Because
And back then, look, everyone was wearing either cream or brown fucking suits or grey or black.
Yeah.
So it just fitted the whole thing. It was a status symbol.
Yeah. This is another thing we wanted to get into as well, is that when I watch your stories on Instagram, I'm like, what is this guy on? He looks like you look like you're just running around on acid doing shit all the time. Like you're crazy. You're always doing something very productive. And it
just seems that way.
It just seems that
I
way.
just work with a plan.
It seems that way.
So my day is planned.
So your day's plan.
Yes.
But this is what I wanted to get into, though. It's like, okay, planning is very good and obviously a big part of your routine. But
It is the most important part of the routine.
what drives you? That's what I wanted to get to. What drives you?
I can't answer that question because that's a stupid fucking question.
It's
I'm
not.
sorry.
What do you?
It's the same as going into a company and saying, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, well, you don't know.
Exactly.
But the thing is, these got
I'm still
be
trying to
some,
figure it out.
some type
I am
of
happy.
motivation.
No, I am happy in my own head.
Yeah.
And as long as I don't work for a salary, I'm good. But that was a decision I made like 12, 13, 14 years ago.
Okay.
I want to work for myself.
Yeah, I'm also.
And I work for myself. And my time is my own. But I have a lot of debt. So I need to earn money. And there's no, I mean, the whole saying, myself and Luan, my eldest son, discussed this last night. Find a job you love and you won't work for the rest of your life. That's a load of fucking bullshit. Work is work. Otherwise, it'd be called fun time.
Yeah.
You work because you have to, not because you want to.
Yeah.
And bullshitting yourself saying, hey, I'm now doing something that I really love. I like making daggers, but I love my family. I don't love fucking daggers. I love the process of creating, but doing the actual fucking work, it sucks, man. Yeah. I'd much rather sit around and watch a video. If I
Yeah.
can figure out some way to get paid good money for doing that, I would stop making fucking knives.
Yeah.
You see my hands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does suck, but when you finish the knife, it's like, oh wow.
No. On to the next project immediately.
You don't
Not
even
a day
you don't even
between.
take time to look at what you've done and say, wow, I did
Dude,
this.
I have spent hundreds of hours looking at the fucking thing.
Yeah.
There's no one on this planet that's looked at that thing more than I have. Now you want to sit back and admire your work? What does that do? It gives you a little pat on the back, say, oh, you did a good job. There's fucking 10 million people on Instagram and on Facebook will tell you did a good job. You know you did a good job, otherwise you wouldn't be posting the photo. Why would you need self-recognition?
Well,
It's a social construct that you've bullshitted yourself into. Hard work is fucking hard work. That's what we do. We work. Done. Create an environment where it's comfortable for you to do that. I'm spending 12, 13, 16 hours in my shop behind this desk every single day. That's why I made it comfortable.
Yes.
That's why I made it look pretty.
Yes. Yes.
It's prettier than my house.
Yeah.
Why? Well, my bedroom. One of the walls of my bedroom isn't even painted yet.
Yeah.
I'm talking it's the raw plaster. Why? Because I only fucking sleep there, man. That's it. Yeah.
This is where you spend.
We're not in the habit of lying in bed watching TV and getting all comfortable because that's a little cocoon. That's for people that are financially what?
Gifted.
No, financially independent is the nice word.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about money. This is another part of the discussion from last night, saying find a job that you love and you won't work for the rest of your life. What would you do if money was not even part of the equation? You could do anything. Don't think about the cost. Nothing. Would you do what you do now?
Yes.
Yes and no. So change it. It's easy as that. And don't tell me no. This is the biggest thing. Self-discovery. Asking yourself those hard-ass questions. If you're in this position, you don't like it. If money was not the object, would you be doing this? No. Then what are you doing to get to that point? What would you be doing, by the way?
I would have a bushcrafting school.
You'd still be working.
I'd still be working, but I love doing it, like much more than what I do. I did a bushcrafting.
You enjoy doing it.
I enjoy doing it. I enjoy teaching what I know about bushcraft specifically. Because I don't know fucking shit about
knives. But if money was not an option, why would you be teaching?
Because I enjoy interacting with people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does a singer.
That's
I've
another.
heard you sing. You need a bit more practice.
That's another thing that I've spoken to.
You understand what I'm saying?
I've spoken to you about.
Yeah.
I've seen your fucking video. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, it's cut, bro. No. It's cut.
I said, don't scream at the song.
Don't scream at the song. Yeah. No, it's something that I do, but it's not something that I think I could make money of. I'd love to.
Stop thinking.
Yeah.
Because this is another thing. We think too fucking much, and I see this at every single new maker. Every single person that enters this craft goes through exactly the same path.
Yeah.
You work because you have to get money.
Yeah.
Right. Now you found this little thing that you find extremely interesting. You've gone for a class, and then you sit because you've got time. And you know, 90% of people doing this is behind. Well, I say 90%. A lot of them is behind a computer, and you can bullshit your boss by surfing YouTube.
Yes.
With your Bluetooth earphone in one ear, so that you can't see you walking past, right? You can listen to YouTube videos, and you search the internet and the blah, but you file all this information and the whole thing, and all of a sudden, heat treating a knife becomes this fucking thing. Because we think too much.
Yeah.
Paralysis by analysis.
Yes, and then you get the specification because some other idiot told you, you know what? It is actually fucking easy, and you could no, it's not. You're saying no, it is, because the supplier gave you a heat treat specification. Follow his instruction. No, but don't they have to fucking point my quench tank due north and turn around and I have to quench in the blood of moon, fucking I don't know, blood of a unicorn and bladder and because we've got the blind leading the fucking blind. And the thing is, people don't read. They don't want to trust the source. Here's the supplier. He sold you the piece of steel. He told you this is how you heat treat it. Just do that. You'll be good.
Well, I'm lucky.
The same thing about the heat on the quenching wood.
It
They're saying I'm baking a chocolate cake.
Mm.
You don't add cacao, will I get a chocolate cake? The answer is fuck no, by the way. Yeah.
I don't know fuck about baking.
If you don't add cacao, it cannot be a chocolate cake.
Oh, right. That's fucking cocoa. But cacao. Yeah.
Cocoa.
Yeah. That,
Not the puffs.
yeah.
Not the breakfast cereal. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people get into this whole thing about, man, aside from that, aside from not, it is this obvious. This is not rocket science.
Yeah.
It's making a knife.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether you beat it with a rock like it was done fucking thousands of years ago, dig a hole in the ground, heat up the steel so that it becomes non-magnetic into a state where it becomes easier to manipulate that steel.
Yes.
You don't have to have the fucking digital kilns and the blah, 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 to do the basics. If you're now moving into more complicated steel, more complex steels, then you need to understand why we are saying, hey, for instance, N690 has to hang 4 millimeters thick, 12 mil or 12 minutes for 4 millimeters thick at 1060 degrees, where it actually transforms and becomes a high carbon stainless. Before it's heat treated, it'll rust worse than fucking mild steel.
Really?
Once it, of course.
Yeah, because you've got to get the chrome.
Okay.
When was the last time you've been to KMTS?
Never.
Oh, you should do yourself a favor.
Okay.
Go out and ask anyone that works there for the skeletons, the holes. You want to see the holes, the knife holes, right? So this is guys that have stuff laser cut through KMTS,
Yes.
right? And the sheets with the knife holes, you can buy those.
They're rusted to fuck.
Yeah, they are rusted to smithereens.
Wow.
Yeah.
So only when you heat treat it does
Does
it become
transform.
a high carbon stainless.
Yes.
Yeah. The chrome needs to transform.
I don't care.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't care. There are guys with thick glasses, white lab coats that set that formula. I'm not going to fuck with it.
No, because
Now some other dude out of the middle of fucking nowhere with his beaten up old gas forge comes to me and he says, no, but I can heat treat N690 just get exactly the same out of it as the lab results.
No.
So you can. You might have. My wife was fond of saying, even a blind squirrel gets a nut every now and then. Yeah. In this game, if you want to improve, you have to have measurable and repeatable results. So to get back to the oil, a lot of guys ask me, so what should the temperature of the oil be? I say, who cares? As long as it's consistent. Yeah. I see guys looking in summer heating up a piece of steel and tossing it into the oil because it has to be warm.
I only do it in winter.
But why? Are you measuring the temperature of your oil? In other words, every single time you quench, okay, you get to the same temperature, the steel, and then quench it into different heated oils during the course of the year. You're obviously going to get fucking different results.
Yeah.
So pick a temperature, 15 degrees, 17 degrees, 18 degrees, whatever your oil is on a 25-degree average summer day. Figure out a way to get that oil to that same temperature every single time you quench, and you will get repeatable results. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'm just
Exactly. So now it doesn't matter if you're in fucking Canada, all right? 25 degrees in summer is going to be a push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if
in winter, you'll probably have frozen, or your oil will look like grease. I don't know. I've never been there. Yeah. But you'll need to get it to the same temperature to get repeatable results.
the same
Same
viscosity.
If you are hand sanding, doesn't matter what grit you start off with. You're going to start in the same fashion. You understand what I'm saying? You ground 10 knives, you're going to sand them in exactly the same fashion to get the same result. If you're expecting different results by using the same system, and you know what the outcome is of that system, then that's the definition of insanity.
Yes.
Yeah, doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results. So obviously, if you want a different result, you need to look at another system, another process. Then you start asking guys. You don't go up to me, phone call this morning. How do I hand sand? Going fucking back to front. The guy thought I was being stupid. I'm saying fucking I hand sand back to front. Forward and backwards. That's what I hand sand. What do you mean with how do I hand sand?
Yeah.
What sandpaper do I use? Oh, well, that's fucking easy. RMC or Klingspor. Where do I get RMC? I say, do you have Klingspor? Yes. Saying I did say RMC or Klingspor.
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. RMC, unfortunately, the guys that supplied me closed down, so I don't even know how to get it. So what the fuck, how do I answer that question? You know how to get?
Jack's got a contact, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Klingspor, look at my fucking sandpaper over there.
Yeah.
We've got thousands of sheets.
Yeah.
I'll probably only have to buy sandpaper the next 10 years. Yeah, but the point being is asking a question intelligently will get you an intelligent answer. Asking a stupid question like everyone asks, then you're going to get a stupid answer.
It's the same as the question is, if
Sorry,
you ask,
we're jumping around completely.
ask, can I slam my dick in the sliding door? That's not the
Yes,
question.
you can.
You
Why
can.
the fuck would you want to do that?
The question is, should I?
No, it's just, why would you even want to ask that question? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway, your next question would be what?
So it's your turn, Timmy.
What is your typical days look like?
Mine? Well, today it's a Thursday.
Yeah, but you obviously work.
No, there is no typical day. So I get up at 5. Well, between 5 and 6.
Okay.
My wife and kids get up at 5. They leave at 6.
Okay.
I want to be dressed and have my first cup of coffee by 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Normally in summer, at 6:15, I'll be in the shop.
Okay.
Winter, I'm finding it very difficult to be in the shop before 7.
Yeah, it's cold.
It is not cold. It is exceptionally cold. This morning it was -2.
Oh shit.
So it really does get cold. So much so that I had a bucket of water just standing outside of the shop, which I didn't turn out yesterday after I finished, and it was frozen. Jeepers. -2. Water freezes at 0.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I remember when I used to do specimen carp fishing in winter, and you get that run at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you bail out your tent, and you got to break the ice bucket to get water onto the unhooking mat, and then your landing net stuck to the.
Jeepers.
No.
So there's there's no typical day.
But I try to be in the shop. So depending on what I'm busy with, the day will differ. But I'll come in and I'll start the smaller project, like for instance now that there, laser engraving the logos on the back of brochures.
Yeah,
it has to get done. And I'm building 600, and it takes 3 minutes and 10 seconds. 3 minutes 4 seconds. 3 minutes 4 seconds to do one. And there's a crap house full of them to be done. So it's impossible to do it all in one go without losing your mind. So I set a goal of 50 per day and done. Yeah. So yesterday I did a bit more. I did about 65. So I did another 30. The aim was to do 30 before you guys came in. And as you came in, I think I did the last 2.
Yes.
So that helped. But I was in the shop at 6. Maybe 6:15. Sorry, gentlemen. Let me just put this thing on side.
No worries.
But after that, first thing I step into the shop, I start up the space station, check email. If there's any emails I need to reply to or client correspondence, then I'll take care of that. So admin first thing. I hate admin, so I want to get that out of the way as quick as possible.
Do the most uncomfortable task first.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to get a quick win early in the morning. It just bullshits myself. Just done. So I'll never work late to finish something, even if it's just another 5 minutes. I'll always stand it up because it's work. Done. Unless my wife gave me permission to be in the shop till 10:12, then I'll finish it.
If it's a 48-hour dagger bolt.
Yes, but then she'll just laugh at me. But so I want to get a little small win. I want to get a ongoing. I always have 3 or 4 ongoing projects. So if I don't have to spend time on what I'm doing now, there's always 2 or 3 other options I can pick from. Then a part of the administration of the monster that is Black Dragon Forge is I'm redoing the corporate identity. Well, not the ID, the adverts. And I started that a couple of weeks ago. So you can go and farm this out to someone, but it's my brand, my look. the personality of the brand has to be reflected, and there's no way that anyone aside from me can do that.
And you used to do.
Yeah, 512 years ago, I did graphic design.
Yeah.
So
you know how to do it. So
yes.
for someone like Trenton, we wouldn't advise it because
No, it's just same as knife making.
Yeah.
It's something that has to be learned. Same as writing, same as drawing. It is a skill that has to be learned.
On the drawing part,
Yeah.
since you cut me out about graph paper, I haven't drawn on graph paper since.
So why the hell would you want to?
Because I'm an engineer. And
No, even engineers don't draw on fucking graph paper.
But anyway, since changing to normal paper, it is so much easier because now you're not constrained by lines. And being constrained by lines is
Well, you're being constrained.
you're being constrained.
Yeah.
And
You can't draw a curve on fucking graph paper.
no, you can't. And
Well, you can.
but it's much more difficult.
Yes.
And luckily, I got from Grant, I got one of those big LED panel lights
Yeah.
that I've turned into my light box.
Whose idea was that?
Trenton's.
Because I got it from Neil, so I saw his shit and I was like, that's fucking cool.
But you know what that is?
Yeah, it's a X-ray.
Yeah, an X-ray viewer that I picked up at I can't remember, a second-hand shop for like, I don't even think I paid 10 rand for it.
Well, I got the panel light for free from Grant because he had it left over from
Brilliant.
installations, and it's big.
You can
And
have
so I draw
multiple
on it,
designs on
and I can put the light on if I need to trace,
Mm.
which is a huge thing because now I don't need tracing paper. I just use one type of paper.
Get tracing paper. Because you can layer it.
Yeah, you
That's
can layer
true.
it.
No, trust me.
That's true. Yeah.
Trust me, it's not going to set you back a lot. It's like $150 for a block.
Mm.
Yeah, A3 an entire book. You can layer stuff. You
I-
can build up designs, and you can look through it by just doing this.
yeah.
Where you can't do with 2 sheets of paper.
Yeah. True.
And I can overlay and I can change certain aspects of a drawing.
Yeah, I've seen it when you do the daggers, when you do different quillions, and you can stack them all on top of each other, and this one,
Yep.
Yeah.
and eventually you find what pleases the eye.
And you don't want to erase, but we're jumping again. So learning a skill. What was the question again?
It was your day, so you
Yeah, so man, I'd start off just to get onto if I draw, I will set aside time to draw. It's not something that I hate it when people say, oh, I feel inspired, I have to do this now. It's never fucking happened to me ever. Ever.
Yeah.
You got an idea, and I've got an idea, and I've got an idea, and as soon as I can picture that idea, I'll put it down on paper. But it's just a quick little sketch.
Yes.
Just to remind me of something, because that idea is just that.
Yes.
It's an idea, and I call them brain fogs because you don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then you can sketch the same idea 20 times, and you'll have 20 different sketches.
Yes.
So what you need to do is put all of those ideas in quick little sketches on a book, or something that you carry with you.
Yeah.
And then once I've got all of those weird and wonderful ideas, I will then sit down and draw the knife that is then inspired by that whole idea. It's really funny when people say, I've got this idea of a knife in my mind. How do I put this on silent? If you have it in your mind, you have to put it on paper to get it out.
Yes, that's what I find with.
And when people say, but I can't draw, I'm saying, well, you've got 2 things. You either want to find a way or you want to find an excuse.
Yes.
Fucking choice is yours. There's no middle ground. If you want someone else to make it or you want to make it yourself, you have to know what you're making and you have to work with a plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like what you told me when I first started like designing things, and you said, but draw it to the tools that you have available so you can make it. Don't draw it to things that you don't have.
Well,
Or
you
beyond
can
your
draw
capabilities.
the pie in the sky.
Yeah.
Draw
Yeah.
the fucking, I don't know,
dream
whatever,
dagger.
the dream,
Yeah.
and then be realistic.
Yes.
Where's my skill at the moment? What equipment do I have? If you don't have a 3mm wheel, then you don't have a 3mm wheel.
Yes.
If you only have a 25mm wheel, so that little 3mm little notchy will have to be done with a file. So go and find a file
Yes.
that's 3mm or change it to the 5.5 that you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Design to make your life easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what I found when I started off, I used to let it evolve on the anvil.
Yeah, Pokemon knives. I love those. Not
And And then I found when I started doing a few drawings and stuff, if I can't draw it, what's in my mind, then I can't forge what's in my mind. Because I wanted to forge cookery. And
90% of guys forging cookeries have never seen a fucking cookery if you look at the result.
yeah, because you've got this picture in your mind and you try and do it. But I find if I've drawn it, then I know how to form it, if that makes sense.
Yes, because you've got a plan.
Got a plan, yeah.
And I was just making the thing. There's nothing magic that happens when you stick steel in the fucking forge.
Man, I tell you, like over the past little while, I've been trying to practice just on fucking mild steel because that's all I had at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have any round bar 5160 or anything.
5160 at this point in time is cheaper than mild steel, by the way.
Yeah, but I just had mild steel, so I was using that anyway. And I was forging out some stock to a blade, and I was like, oh, well, this feels all right. So I'm getting a technique down, and then I had to draw out by hand 16 millimeter 5160, and I was like, holy shit, this is difficult.
It's not difficult. It just takes
just
time.
when you don't know what you're doing, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So
But what's difficult about hitting shit with a hammer?
Yeah, no, flattening it out took time, but like trying to form it to something that is practical. Because I'm still practicing the techniques, you know.
Yeah.
It's difficult to try and move the steel
difficult.
when you. No, it's just you've got to understand how to.
Forever. And through doing it more and more often,
Yes.
you become more proficient.
Yes. Yes.
It's still difficult.
Yes.
Still
It
difficult.
just goes quicker.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it becomes easier, but it does. But easier might be the wrong choice of words. It's still difficult,
Yes.
but it's not incomprehensively difficult.
Well,
It is hitting shit with a hammer.
Well, I think it's the same with like bushcraft. It's like it is difficult, but if you understand how to do it, it's not that difficult anymore. It's
like
still it's
Gary Player said,
Yeah.
the more you practice, the luckier you seem to get.
Yes.
Yeah. If you've never started a fire with the Bushman method, rubbing a stick on a stick, you'll probably never get it right without proper tuition. Knowing what you're doing makes a difference. But then knowing how to do it and actually doing it is two different things as well.
Yes.
Because there are those small little practical things like putting a ball bearing or a roller bearing in the inside of that top stocky.
That's fucking cheating. That's fucking cheating.
It's not cheating. It's
no,
using the tools you have. But
Look, yeah.
But hold on.
Yeah.
It's the same argument when guys saying, but grinding with a jig is cheating. Fuck no.
it's not cheating.
It's
But
not cheating.
No, but it's grinding with a jig.
Yeah.
Where's the fucking rule? Because you have to have a rule that's broken in order to call it cheating.
Yes.
Where's the fucking rule? There's no rule.
my opinion is, if you want to use a jig, use a jig. But for me,
No, not for you. No, don't stop the argument there. No. All you're trying to do is justify you being able to grind. You want to make yourself look better.
no,
You can grind. So fucking what? Woo! Here's a stop.
no. For me,
How do you think I grind 50 fucking blades in 4 hours?
with a jig,
No, freehand. Because I can grind.
yeah,
Yeah, that was me flexing.
That was you flexing.
Yeah.
If I used a jig, I would have probably been able to do 150, which will make me fucking money, which is the business of knife making. Yeah, because I'm not flicking. I'm not trying to impress another maker. When guys say I want to make knives, I'm saying, well, there's two types of knife makers out there. There's a guy that makes knives for himself, and there's another guy that makes knives for knife makers. Which one do you want to be?
I want to make knives for me.
Sean! Vat my foon en manage die ding asseblief. Antwoord die mense, sê vir hulle ek is besig met 'n kliënt of whatever. Ze sien daar's like 3 missed calls, bel hulle terug. Thanks buddy.
Yeah, the reason I don't use a jig is because I don't do production. I don't do.
Are you a full-time maker?
Not yet, but soon to be.
Okay. So what's the easiest way to get money into
Production knives.
So why aren't you gearing to do production knives? Because you're still subscribing to, I want to make the once-off fucking airy-fairy dream-up knives things.
I'm working towards production knives.
Working towards is another way of saying I haven't started yet.
No,
I'm thinking of it.
I'm working on my design.
You're working on your design. That's the fucking easiest part. That's not a production knife. That's a once-off.
It's once off, but
Yeah.
I
And
like
that day I followed on Instagram. How many hours have you got in this thing?
way too much.
No. How many hours have you got? Answer the question.
On the grinding is probably
No, you don't know. That's the answer.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay. This is a nice knife, by the way.
I guess, but I
Extremely
don't
well
have to cry.
executed.
Well, to get to that blade, I ground.
What I would have liked to see, but that's just my opinion.
Mm.
All right. I would actually go and show this to Stuart and ask him what he would change on this. Not what do you think about this. What would he change on this? And I believe he would say that the handle can go narrower.
Narrow,
Yeah. Because the biggest mistake guys are making is they want to bulge out that there and that way. And that just becomes a little fucking golf ball in the middle of the stick.
Yeah.
Just for the video, why don't you show that to the camera there real quick? There we go. Look at that.
Yeah, because I like it.
It's a nice little hunter, really it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Really
it's the blade based on the Loveless Hideout or New York Special with a double hollow.
Okay, when you say based on,
Bob Loveless is.
no, I know who the guy is. I know the knife. I want to know because that's not it.
The profile of the blade. So ignore the handle part. The profile of the blade is
Inspired by.
Inspired by.
Exactly. Based on, no. Inspired by, yes.
Because I like that blade shape. And I like the deep hollows.
Yes. As a
what
production knife, ain't gonna work.
Yeah, it's too much work.
No, your time is the only thing you have in this world. Do you realize that? Only have time. Every single second we've spent talking cock is a second you'll never get back in your life. It's a second that puts you closer to that day that you're going to die. No one knows what that day is.
And that's the absurdity of life.
That is the begin and end.
Yeah.
What you do in between is life. The relationships you build, the time you spend on something that you want to recoup in monetary value. In other words, you want to sell this. You want to make a quality product for a least amount of time and the most amount of profit.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
Makes
so why
sense.
don't we do it?
Because
Design a knife that'll take you less than 4 hours to make. And then we talk again.
Okay.
That you know for a fact you can stock remove in less than 4 hours.
I've started working on something. I've designed it.
That I'm good. That I'm glad to hear.
I have designed it, and it's a simple profile.
So many people, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
So many people say when we have these hard conversations, so many people tell me I've started. 90% are fucking bullshitting themselves. They haven't started. They started thinking about it. But thinking and doing is two different things.
Yes.
So we're on about my day. Check email, do correspondence, and then I will set a half an hour to just clean up. Although I've cleaned up the previous night. Half an hour just to organize something on my desk. So I'll go to my list and say, you know what? The file rack over here on the second drawer. If I pull it open, the longer needle files will stick to the top of it. So what I essentially need to do is open this up. Just to put two little washers. I just need to lift it 4 millimeters higher.
Yeah.
I'll just do that little thing to make my life going forward a bit easier. And then I will say, okay, fine. What did we do yesterday? So we're busy with the stiletto. But then last night I had a bit of time. So I wanted to play with resin casting for injection molding, wax injection molding. Lost wax casting, creating wax positives. And I'm busy with that collaboration piece, the stiletto dagger. So the handle is up. Thinking, let's cast it. Why the hell not? I've never played with the resin. Read the specs on it, and it says 25 degrees Celsius. So that's the best working environment for it.
Yeah.
But it was 17 or 18 degrees last night. So I called my wife. She's been doing this for 20 plus years, saying, what's going to happen? She said, well, the curing time is going to take slower. When you mix up the silicon, it is going to mix harder. You're going to work more bubbles into it because you need to go blah, 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 blah. So understanding and working it in the worst case scenario, well, not the worst case scenario, but not ideal environment, taught me more than trying to figure it out in an ideal environment.
Yes.
But I had a teacher here that's been doing this for obscene amounts of time.
Yeah.
And then I followed her instructions to the letter. And once I did that, she said, well, those were the instructions supplied by the supplier. But what I have seen is if you follow those instructions, it says that you need to vacuum it for 2 minutes with a 2-minute rest time in between. And you have to do that 3 times in the debubblizer before you actually pour it. And she said what she found over the years is still sticking to those, but on the 3rd debubbalizing, pour it into the molds and debubblize the mold, which saves her that extra step of debubblizing 3 times and then pouring into the mold, having to debubblize an additional time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just those little tricks that somebody who's
so
used
she's
this
not
product,
changing the formula, but she's brought an additional step she managed to eliminate by just experience.
Yes.
So the manufacturer's formula is still there.
Yes.
It's still there, yeah.
Now it's just experience making the process run a bit smoother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I love.
Yes.
I love learning those things.
Yeah.
So today, and then I read the specifications. So when I came in this morning, immediately I put my little oil heater on, which I had to and because I have a larger one.
Yeah.
So you do heat up your oil.
Oh yes, I do. this is my ball warmer.
Ball warmer.
Right, so I literally sit and work like this, man. But anyway, so I have that stuck under the skin, and I bought this little cheapy one because it fits under the bench.
Yes.
Because the larger one, the standard one, doesn't. I can't get in with my chair under the bench. So although I have a larger one, and my father-in-law gave me a second one, I still spent money on this one.
Yeah.
But I did that not when winter started, because then they're expensive.
Yeah.
So I did that in January. I went and I looked, and I even had Sean looking for one. You get a 3-fin one, which is the one I actually want. Yeah, because then it won't be. But anyway, long story short, you put that under there, and you saw the 2 molds. Here they are. Okay. So those are now lying in my skin with the heater from the bottom, which gets me close to 22 degrees Celsius,
which is better.
Which is better, and it just says that the curing time will not be. So I can't take these out of the mold according to the specification for 24 hours. It'll set in an hour and a half at 25 degrees Celsius. This morning, which was 11 hours later, it still hadn't set, but because it's cold. Even hitting it with a heat gun made it set almost instantly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But will it set?
So I like experimenting. So that was my half an hour this morning. Not doing anything, but playing with that. And then I had to get back to work, but then you guys were scheduled to be here.
Right.
Yeah. So after this, I need to go and check up on castings that were done this morning by Tulu and Steve. So furnace castings. Then based on that, I will set the targets for them for tomorrow. But seeing that I can't be there, they can't cast. So they're busy cutting grass. So aside from me doing my thing, I need to make sure that my entire team is busy and making me money, being productive. Yeah. Because employees being employees, and no disrespect to anyone, but this is how I treat every employee, is I want to pay you 10 Rand, but I want 2,000 Rands of performance out. Yeah. So for instance, Sean, let's take Sean as an example. Brilliant person, he's my cousin, and if I didn't like him, he wouldn't be working. Yeah. As easy as that. Yeah. Okay, and we've now been working together for on off about 4 years. He came in to help me today welding up furnaces. Do you hear the welder running?
Not at the moment.
Okay, so then I would get up and go and see why is the welder not running.
Yes.
What is he doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's probably handling.
He's trying to stay really quiet for this. But you understand what I'm saying? So he has got a task. I know he's competent and he's been doing this for years and years and years. Yes. But as I am now working, getting into filing or whatever, or I don't know, yesterday I spent time redesigning my newsletter.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Because it's something that has to be done. But I don't want to sit down and just do everything in one go because I only allocated 2 hours for it. So I did the graphics, the overall design, the day before, and then yesterday I cut it up and did the HTML and uploaded it into a MailChimp. So there's a lot. there's a lot of small different tasks, but like in any business, I only allocate X amount of time to it because I still need to manufacture. I can't just do everything and anything that makes me happy. I can't just be making knives because I need to sell the knives. I need to sell the knives to willing buyers, but I need to build up a media presence. People wanting that are interested in what I'm doing so that I can sell the knife at the end of the day. As opposed to most knife makers where they make a piece, take photos of it, and then flood the fucking internet with it and hope and pray someone will buy it. They're not actively marketing. They are printing business cards and keeping it in their drawers. And every now and then when they go to the shops, they'll just randomly at a robot go, hey, you want a business card? Want a business card? Want a business card? And no one will fucking take it.
Because they're
not interested in it. That's why.
It's for show. It's not for actual purpose.
Yeah, but posting a photo of a knife that you have for sale in a knife makers group is like going to a convention where they are selling printers
and try and sell a printer
and handing out pamphlets of you selling printers. First thing of business you need to realize is if you want to position your company where all your competition is, you've missed the fucking point. You're the new guy.
Yeah.
Competing with the old dogs that already have market share.
Yes.
So you now need to focus on market penetration. And that is expensive. And as a young maker that barely can afford the tools, you don't have fucking money to spend on marketing. So you have to be clever. And being clever is not having a website. Everyone has a website. Being clever is not having an Instagram account or a Facebook account or getting access into all of these other knife making groups and selling your shit in there. There's no knife buyers and knife making groups. Yeah. The exception is that other knife makers do buy knives.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
You have to.
What do you do? No, don't expect an answer. What do you do? Yeah. What do you do? You can't do what I do because that's me. The world thanks my parents every single day that there's only one of me.
Yeah.
My wife says that every single night. Fuck, I'm so glad there's only one of you.
I'm glad there's only one of you. I can only take so much.
Exactly. Yeah? So trying to emulate what I've done will only get you there, but understanding why I've done something, then you can apply it because you understand why I did what I did to get to the result. And for me, Instagram and Facebook is two different monsters. Instagram, I don't sell anything, nothing. But I will promote people selling my stuff, other people selling my stuff. I will promote, building relationships. But Instagram for me is showing what I'm doing, what is in this thing that is Black Dragon Forge and what's happening. That builds an audience of people that want to see what I'm doing.
Yes.
And
there
it's
are
fairly
a lot
effective.
Of people. There are a lot of people.
When I actually have something for sale, and the last 2 years, I think I've had 2 things up for sale. And the one I ended up giving away, because the one guy really wanted it. He really, really, really wanted it. I eventually shipped it to him. And when it came to paying, I said, you know what? You're the only guy that was so persistent over a period of 6 months. He kept on haunting me. I promise you, every single Tuesday, I got a message from him. How's it going with my knife? Blah, 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 blah. And I eventually just gave it to him because he really wanted that knife. And I believe that when he went to Blade Show, he took that knife with as his EDC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
He literally carries it. Which
That's
makes
brilliant.
me proud.
It makes me
It's
proud.
really, really proud. And it's not one of my best pieces ever. But it was the last piece I did for last year. You know, that small little integral.
Yes.
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 I ended up
That
giving it away.
5161.
No, Sabin Silver Steel.
So
okay.
with the Hamon in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that hammer was brilliant up to the point where I tempered it. When I started polishing it, the Hamon faded.
Oh, shit.
It is there. You can see it. But this is more experimenting that I need to do on Sabin Silver Steel. I think I might have polished it too fine.
What grade
Yeah,
did
my
you go?
etching regime, 1,200.
Mm.
My etching regime, or not fine enough, I don't know. But my etching regime for Damascus and carbon steels, well, I say general carbon steels, the 10 series steels versus now save and silver steel is obviously not working. So that is something I need to go and work on. But I enjoyed making that one. Will I make more? No. Why? Because it takes too much time. The amount of time that I spend on making one of those, I can do a stiletto dagger, which is 3 days, and get real money for it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. So your reason for doing daggers, besides that you like making them, is
I like making them, and I get to decide what I make.
okay.
Because I don't take orders. Because as soon as I take your money, I work for you based on my definition of working for a boss. As someone that pays me to do shit that I don't want to do.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
So I make every single piece myself. And when I'm happy with it, then I'll put it aside. Like that one there. It's a pot. It's not even in one piece. And the reason I keep it like that is if it's one piece, everyone that walks in here wants to pick it up and swing it around and fucking pretend to stab someone. And
When it's in pieces, no one wants to touch it. It's like, carefully.
You saw me when
It's
I came
still in
I was
progress,
like, I was like, don't touch it. Don't fuck with it.
Come on, put the thing together, done, and play with it. If you stab someone, you get blood on it, just wipe it off before it starts etching the blade. Don't mess on my fucking floor. That's it. And if you do,
on my desk.
know where the towels are so you can clean it up. Don't get blood on me because that's going to get my wife angry with me. You understand what I'm saying? The logical thing.
The logical.
But planning my day early on in my career,
Thank you, Sean.
and that was still when I was in IT. I don't want to say IT, in design, in development, in project management, business analysis. Project management was what I did. I earned good money over maybe 6 or 7 years doing project management.
Well, that's what we wanted to get into as well.
And that helped with planning my day.
Yeah. Because you were, how many years were you in project development?
Project management, probably 6, 7 years.
Project management.
Yeah.
6 years.
6 to 7 years,
6 to 7 years. That's a long time. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Fuck no. The money was brilliant.
But I think
My
that's
tax back then was more what the average salary for an employee is now. Dude was making serious money. Serious money.
Well, my daughter is she's almost finished her articles for auditing, and she's probably going to be a partner in the next couple of months. And then she was talking to me about what her salary is going to be, and it's like, what the fuck did I do engineering?
I don't know. I don't know.
But she said.
But I do believe. Sorry, man.
She's going to be making stupid money, and she said she's going to help me in the workshop with equipment.
No, tell her to just for the first. I don't know. This is something that my dad told me, which I could never do. I just don't have the self-discipline. But my kids are good with it because we drummed it into them like brushing your teeth. It's just something you have to do. Is taking a third of your salary and putting it in a savings account.
That's her plan.
A third of your salary. Because it's nice saying, hey, I earned 1,000 rand. But it's better to just spend 666 of it. Taking the other money and putting it away. Why? Because I ain't going to buy him a fucking car. My parents didn't buy me a car. I don't want to help him get from point A to point B. This is why we sold everything and bought this property, which is larger than the fucking suburb I stayed in. Your biggest investment ever will be your house, according to the people that we should be caring about. So buying a house is the most amount of money that you're ever going to spend. Maybe you're an avid gambler. You understand what I'm saying? So our thinking was, I'd much rather buy this property, suffer for 10, 15 years paying it off. And when it's done, that's what I can leave my kids. Aside from money that they can spend, blah, 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 is a property that is actually worth a crap house full of money. And we crunched the numbers. I mean, going anywhere in the world, relocating, I will not be able to afford or even get a tenth of what I have here.
Yeah.
With the quality of life.
Yes.
It's just impossible.
Yeah.
It's not to say I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm just stupid like that. Man.
I like to do stupid things.
So my plan, long term,
Mm.
is, and I do believe you've heard me say this, work with a plan, work with a plan. That's the drawings behind you. There's a plan, and then we just make it.
Yes.
And someone says, "But hey, why don't you change this?" You go, "Oh, that's not a crap idea. I'll do it."
Yeah.
Overlay, change the plan.
Yes.
Eventually, you go, and that thing will sit at the back of your head, and it'll nag you, and you refine that part of the plan a bit more, and eventually, plop, there's 2 or 3 different daggers based on it.
Yes.
Same thing in life. So the long-term plan is for as soon as my little one, he's 50. He's not little anymore.
Yeah.
He's fucking almost as tall as I am. But for the rest of his life, he'll be the little one, yes? Bro.
Yeah.
Where the oldest one is bro. And I'm bro. But anyway, so as soon as he's done with school, they've got a place to stay.
Yeah.
It'll be paid off.
Yeah.
I'm out of here, man. Told them they're welcome to come with. Plan is to spend at least 6 months of the year traveling.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm not just going and fucking visiting sites. I want to set up a shop in the States.
That's a brilliant idea.
Because I want to do at least one knife which says made in the USA. Why? Because that is a big thing.
Yeah. Well, that's if
for my market, that is a big thing.
Well, what's it? Jocko Willink, his whole thing behind his origin partnership for clothing and stuff is made in the USA.
But that's every single manufacturer in the US's claim to fame.
Yeah.
Well, I say claim to fame, but it's a big draw card because the philosophy, the purchasing mentality is supporting local.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where here, oh fuck, you're too expensive.
Yeah.
How many guys have you got that you know, your friends that own their own companies that you actually support? In South Africa, it's a sickness.
Yeah.
You know someone that starts a new company and the family, a friend, a good mate.
You want discount?
No, you're the last fucking person
to buy from them.
Buy from them.
Yeah.
Where in the rest of the world, people will support that guy. If you can't buy from him, help him promote it. Give me a couple of flyers. Tell his mates at a braai, wherever. Do you know that Tim started this knife making thing? I mean, check his knife. Do you own one? Man, I wish I had the money to buy one. Honestly, I do, because of this and this and this and this, which just proves that you are bought into what he's doing.
100% bought into. I would buy that knife right now if I could have.
Taking that whole principle
of
buying into it and applying it to marketing. Because people don't buy products.
They buy people or brands.
No. Brands have just gone and realized one little thing. Nike, do they sell shoes?
No, they sell an image.
No, they don't sell an image. What do they sell?
Lifestyle.
No.
What?
They sell success in sports. That's what they sell.
Okay, right.
That's right. That's right.
That feeling of being successful on the football field.
It's like what I say about
just
guys.
do it, man.
It's
just fucking do it.
It's like what I say about the guys in the bushcrafting community, like the posers. It's like if you're not wearing flipping Fjellreven pants and Fjellreven backpacks, then you're not a bushcrafter. But it's like, fuck that shit, man.
It's like going to Huntex and not having camo on.
Yeah.
You're the only guy without camo. Yeah. So essentially, you're the only guy there.
Yeah. You're not
no one can see the other guy.
And that's why you shouldn't wear camo at hunting, because the people will see you then.
Yeah, but then you're the guy that ends up with all the fucking flyers. Yeah. But to get back to this one, understanding what other companies have done.
Yeah.
And really understanding. Not just taking the mindless babble of fucking some other dude on the internet that told you, oh, this is why they're doing this. McDonald's not selling burgers. What's the game that they do?
Cholesterol.
No, fucking
Property. How so?
Do you think they rent the properties that the stores own?
Do they own them?
Of course.
Okay. Should. All right.
Why is Bill Gates buying up all the farms in the US?
Because he's got the bucks.
No, it's
we're off topic.
Yeah.
But you understand where I'm going. If you put your company exactly where the other guys are in this game, you're losing the point. You're losing the game immediately.
Yeah.
You are not. You're a new guy that start out. You're not the fucking Picasso of knife making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
The skill of design has to be learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to fail. You need to fail often, because if you
Yes.
don't fail, you're not making
Moving
progress. You're not
forward.
learning anything new.
Yeah.
You're not trying.
Listening to other knife makers that do a better job than you, and really listening. In other words, if the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
Getting a mindset, understanding where every single knife maker came from before they got into knife making, and leveraging off of that knowledge is more important than learning the knife making skill from someone that just started. But every single knife maker, doesn't matter what the experience level in knife making is, can teach you something.
Yes.
And if you're willing to sit back and listen to those guys,
Yes.
listen to the auditor.
Mm.
You understand with what software package you should be using to run your knife making business on. Putting systems in place, as opposed to me working on fucking Excel, where I literally told the one guy for a 200 Rand purchase, he wanted an invoice. And told him, I'll charge you an extra fucking 50 Rand just because I have to go and generate that invoice. You dumbass. Just here's the money, here's the product, take, give me cash. Done.
Yeah.
Put a system in place and follow the system. Done. Trust the system.
And for an extra fee, you'll put the price on that you're telling your wife you're paying for it.
No, just give you a letter saying that you want it. Yeah, there's no invoicing, there's no nothing. You can mass produce those. And I have made money off of selling that little letter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making money is stupidly easy. Making large amounts of money becomes more difficult.
Yeah.
But holding on to that money is where the difficult part is. So a couple of years ago, this is actually about 10, 12 years ago, I went to my auditor and saying, look, how do I make more money? And he said, the question you should be asking is, how do you keep the money in your fucking account? Because you're making a good amount of money, but it's not staying there for long.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to him for an hour a week, one day, an hour, and we'll discuss something. So he had time to analyze my account and saw that I was drawing a lot of cash. He wanted to know what the cash is. Saying, well, I always need cash. He says, why do you need cash? Because cash enables you to buy impulsively.
Yes.
That's why I never keep cash in my wallet.
No, I always have cash.
No, I don't keep cash in my wallet
Always have
because I
cash.
have
Not
a
large
wife.
amounts, but I always have cash.
My wife and my kids. Oh, we just need 50 Rand. And then it's gone. And I don't know what happened to it.
So we're not going to get into it. Yes, they bleed you dry, man. But I do spoil them. Why? Because I can. But understanding these different aspects will help you set a strategy in place. And it's called a strategy for a fucking reason. There's a lot of planning behind it. If you don't know what you're doing, then realize that you don't know what you're doing. Don't just blindly follow other guys. Rather go, and you saw me on Skillshare this morning. We talked about aperture. Okay. And immediately I made a little note to go. I went on to Skillshare. Oh, crap. There's a load of videos on aperture, but it's on classical cameras, not phone, my cell phone thingy. So what I need to do is find something that'll help me understand depth of field better and just quickly do the settings on my phone so I can get better quality photos, which will portray on Instagram and on Facebook and build a better quality brand. It's not going to do anything for the brand Black Dragon Forge, but I'll get better stock photos of what I'm doing that I could be using on other avenues. All of a sudden, if my Instagram feed, I've got better quality images of what I'm doing. Later on the teaching side of things, whatever I learn now on my cell phone will relate onto the capturing of the tutorials that I'm doing. And we'll create better quality imagery. Understanding how these little webcams work versus a fucking 50,000 Rand camera, which I'm now contemplating buying because I want better quality footage.
How many kidneys you got spare for the
extra? No. That's the thing. As soon as I've decided, look, I'm going to buy this, then you need to figure out a plan to get the money for that. So I need to save. Because I'm not going to do just 2 extra knives that will give me the money.
Sorry, that's funny. That's done.
That's the boss.
Yes.
Yes, Mango. Okay. Dankie. All right. Okay. Bye. There's just a major fell fire. So the road you came in, that entire property on the left is apparently on fire at the moment.
Well, we saw when we came in, we saw that way.
Yes, it jumped the river and is now on his property, threatening to come over the side. But unless someone phones me in the area, then yeah. But we will after this just go and drive in that direction, go and figure it out.
Yeah. Do you need to check it out now?
No.
Okay.
It's literally like 2 point something kilometers away from me at the moment.
Yeah, it looked pretty far.
Yeah. And I'm not the only landowner in the area.
Yes.
It's a different thing when you're living. When I stayed on a plot out at Dronkerhoek, when you're in that plot community or farm community, when there's a fire, everybody around the area goes to sort it out because it affects everybody.
Yes.
So what we're now doing is we have a fire group, and I haven't monitored it, but that's when my wife picked up on it. But she did say that the guys are looking at it, so we'll see. But I will not blindly just ignore it. We will go and have a look.
Yeah.
But as soon as that, unless I get phone calls saying, "Hey, dude, come,
Yeah.
we need assistance," then they will definitely pop it.
Yeah.
But okay, so what's the next question?
Well, I wanted to just get into something based on what you were talking about earlier. Is like, so I'm obviously what you were talking about earlier is that I'm a newbie. I'm a real newbie, right? I've been taking
with regards to what
knife making.
Good.
Knife making, right? So I've taken an apprenticeship with Jack and learning a lot there and so on and so forth. But I'm still not anywhere near where I want to be. But in the meantime, what I've spoken to you about earlier was that I've made a production knife that I'm working on at the moment.
Yes.
I've made a couple of renditions of it already and just trying to work out what's going to be the most cost-effective way to make it and so on and so forth. But I'm wanting to group that with the bushcrafting side of things. So it's like you do the bushcrafting courses, but you also have the product to back that up. So you're creating a need for the product that you're selling.
No, there's no need for the product that you're selling. You're creating something that is not a need, but a want.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And with you can justify using that and selling and coupling it with the bushcraft thing will make it more legit because you made the knife and you're now backing it with a
bushcrafting background.
Bladder. Yeah. But in all reality, I can take pretty much any knife and call it a bushcraft knife. It'll suck in certain aspects and others not. Same as the knife that you create. Because there is no one knife that rules them all.
No, there isn't.
There is. It's called the butter knife. I'm being dead serious, dude. You see people using steak knives as screwdrivers?
No.
Well, there's a butter knife that managed to do that crossover,
I get what you're saying. It's the bushcrafting knife. Here's the thing about gear and bushcraft and any fucking
Isn't
thing
it
that
just
you
a
go
fucking
into.
knife?
It's look, in my opinion, in my humble opinion,
yes,
from having a bushcrafting background, there are certain blade shapes that are more beneficial for bushcrafting than other blade shapes.
You'll need to convince me, man.
I'll need to convince you. You'll need to come on a course. Yeah.
What is a general task?
Let's
You're
say
not going to use a knife to chop down a fucking tree. That's why.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Yeah,
you shouldn't.
I should also not bump my head against a fucking
I've
wall trying to hand sand a knife.
I've cut a tree down with a knife, but it's not the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah, but when people say, sorry, I've got a real issue with guys generalizing. Okay, really. So saying bushcrafting, that's why I'm tell me a task. So making the statement of certain blade shapes work better in bushcrafting than others is like saying, I don't know, some cars are better than others.
In what situation?
But that's the thing. It's in what situation? We
So this is what I want.
specifically.
Give me an example of a bushcrafting.
Okay,
task.
so Morska Hansky. Do you know Morska Hansky?
No.
Okay, so he passed away probably about 2 years ago. He was one of the most prolific bushcrafting instructors for probably about
irrelevant. Give me a
50
task.
years.
Give me a task.
He said a puko-shaped knife
Yes.
is one of his favorite knives for bushcrafting.
Yes.
Okay, because he
Most
says
important words there. His favorite.
his favorite.
I'm asking.
Yes.
Give me an example of a bushcrafting task.
So bushcrafting task.
Creating a feather stick.
Creating a feather stick, but what do you have to do to create a feather stick? Sometimes you have to baton pieces of wood so that you can split them down. So if that's a task that you're going to do with your
No,
axe,
I'm not
then
making
that's fine.
kindling.
You
Creating
are.
a feather stick
You are.
is what?
You create
Getting a piece of stick.
Yeah.
How do I get the stick? I don't care. A specific bushcraft task, for
Mm.
instance, creating a feather stick.
Yes.
Sharp knife, cut it,
Yes.
splints,
Yes.
and the aim behind creating that fire or that feather stick is to easily light a fire.
Yes.
Okay, with your big lighter.
Yeah.
Because I can't do the bushman thing.
You can't do the bushman. But
It's only because I haven't been taught. No, no.
Here's the whole
So
point behind
hold on.
Okay.
The reason I asked that question is the same reason if Tim would come to me and saying, "Look, I want you to make a knife." So what's the function? Bushcrafting.
Yes.
Saying that's fucking no. Give me a task. Creating a feather stick. Okay, so I can create a knife that'll cut wood, small little angles, and a reverse single bevel, I believe, would do brilliantly, based on whether you're right or left-handed. Yeah, so creating a left-handed bevel knife for you when you're right-handed to create a feather stick will curl those feathers nicely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
so
then
that's
it's
now
really-
specific, and I can see where the finish craft knife or the puko will work brilliant because of the short angle of the cut.
Yes.
And there's,
But
there's
according to
not a
me, cutting
secondary
meat
level.
with that knife will suck.
Yes, but that's the thing. It's not a hunting knife. It's not for
No, there is
food
no such thing as a
processing.
fucking hunting knife.
Yeah.
How many guys do you know that run
That-
around
yeah,
the felt
I know.
stabbing animals
Yes.
to death with a knife?
I
That's a
know.
hunting knife.
Yes. Yes.
Hunting knife is
Skinning-
one against-
Skinner. Right.
Skinner.
Yeah.
Will you butter your?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
no.
that's one knife.
It's one knife, but this is what you said earlier. There is no one knife that's perfect for everything.
Yes.
So that I 100%
But
agree
yet the
with that.
bushcrafters are the same as the hunters. We're trying to do one knife that fits all of them.
Look, yes, there are some guys out
Just
there
giving
who
you
are
a hard
trying.
time. You realize
No,
that,
I
right?
I realize that.
Yeah.
But it's like there's guys out there who
All I'm
they
trying
wanna
to do
carry-
here is the same as in business. Sorry for my French, but fuck what everyone else is doing. What do you see in your design for bushcrafting on that knife? That hasn't been done 5 million fucking times already.
Yes, yes, yes.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Otherwise, you could use any knife.
Yeah.
And if it breaks, then use another one.
Wow.
Same brand. Because if I break a 200 rand knife on a camping weekend, I'm not going to cry.
Well, that's why I used the Moras before.
They're good knives.
They're good knives.
And since you gave me that small little one a couple of years
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
I went out and replaced all the steak knives in my house.
Yeah.
All mirrors.
Yeah.
All of them.
They're great knives. They're great knives.
But my kitchen, the chef's knives, although we've got no chefs in our house, we're freaking, it's the Vanneberg hack shit together knife family here. We have kitchen knives. One that I made 10 plus years ago. Kitchen knife shaped object. It cuts. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Carbon steel 1070 Hammond. I think it looks nice. Well, I thought it looked nice back then. I sold probably 200-300 of that design over. Like I said, I stopped making them about 10 years ago. So that's my only knife that I actually use that I've ever made. And I made it so that we can stick it through dishwashers and see what the effect was on carbon steel. And it's got brass pins and it's got black ivory handles. The glue is practically clear. Okay. The pins haven't been domed. The only saving grace. And that thing has gone through a dishwasher twice a week for the last 10 years.
Cheapers.
Black ivory. It's done nothing. The blade is rusted to fucking smithereens, dude. It's got its patina came off 2 or 3 times because the cycle is what kills it.
Yeah.
It's the lazy ass human that owns the fucking dishwasher. Because you put it in, do it, and then that thing stands there for the entire day because you load the dishwasher before you go to the office. You come back. If you remember, because you've got no teaspoons or no plates, then you'll open it up. And you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it goes through the cycle, when the cycle's done, you take it out and you dry it off. It'll be brilliant.
But the soap has also got an abrasive compound to it, so it's
The fucking soap has got an abrasive
it
compound.
has it knocks it bluntens your edge.
Where the fuck
A
did
dishwasher,
you hear that?
100%, bro. 100%.
Dude, I've got a knife, like I just explained to you, that's gone through
Or maybe your knives are just
a
better quality.
dishwasher. It's carbon steel. If the salt or the whatever corrodes the edge of your knife, I'm going to say maybe that knife is number one, not fucking heat treated. Yeah, it's the same as saying Kydex scratches my knife.
No,
Kydex,
sand in your Kydex sheath.
yes, whatever crap in there is what scratches. Because if the Kydex itself scratches your knife,
It's too soft.
fuck man, you need to get better steel.
Yeah.
If cutting meat dulls your blade, you need to change your fucking butcher. It's not the meat cutting, it's the idiot using the knife cutting through the meat and into his fucking ceramic plate that dulls the knife.
It's a pet hate.
Understanding the situation or the application, then you can come up with a remedy.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Or you can build something that is custom
Well, that's
for that. And that's what I'm saying. Give me a task.
That's the whole idea behind the bushcrafting thing, because there's many tasks to accomplish within the bushcrafting subject.
Yes.
Right. So you've got things like, let's say, for example, what we were talking about earlier was the feather stick. Right?
Yes.
Now, in a situation where you would use a feather stick, and this goes behind the whole concept of it. Why would you use a feather stick? Well, in a fucking wet environment where your thin sticks are probably going to be fully damp. In a wet environment, you want to take a larger piece of wood, split it down where it's possibly going to be drier inside, take that down, split it down to kindling, and then make like further feathers so that it creates further surface area so that it can dry out easier, and that a flame can dry it out enough to start the ignition, right? So that's the whole point behind it. So you have to baton it, you have to carve it down, you have to do all of these things. So what is the best knife for that? So that's where designing knives and coming up with it based on the knowledge that you've got of the bushcraft background and saying, okay, now I want to make the most optimum knife for this application.
Yes.
And then you've got to put it through its trials and say, okay, this knife fails here, but it does well here. How can I make it better? And go through that process.
I hear what you're saying, but I still don't agree.
In what
I'm sorry, man.
What
I
sense?
would much rather use a machete to cut down and process the piece to the point where I can now use a really, really sharp edge, small, nimble knife to create the feather stick. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're
So
saying.
now means I need to carry a machete as well as a small little knife.
Well, there's something
So
called the,
fucking be it. What do I then, through my bushcraft practicing, it makes more sense to carry an axe rather than a machete. So there would be no need for me to baton.
well, it depends on environment as well, because your environment dictates what you're going to carry.
Yeah, but we're in Africa, man. We're not in the fucking rainforest somewhere.
I'm saying for people who are listening, which
Yeah.
is worldwide, right?
Look, I'm just
So,
playing devil's advocate because I need
Yeah.
to understand, and I've
So-
got no insight into the craft.
Well, let me
So I've
enlighten
learned
you.
something about the feather sticks thing. Yeah,
So
and I appreciate that.
So the thing is, you're welcome. So the thing is here with the bushcrafting, it's not just the knife. That's a survival thing.
Yeah,
that's
that's a tool.
bullshit. That's bullshit, right? So bushcrafting is very different to survival in the sense that bushcrafting is like it's more of a hippie way of survival. It's like we're at one with the land. We know about the land. We understand the land. We can use the land. You know? It's like,
I'm not going to
it's
take
like
a
that.
spoon. I'm going to make a spoon.
I'm going to carve a spoon, right? Right. So
I forged the spoon. I know where you're coming from. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. So this is the whole thing about it. It's like it's like, okay, so you don't only carry your knife. There's something called the 5-tool rule.
Yeah, 5 tool.
So 5 tool rule is like
Hour
it's
and a
your 5 cutting tools that you'll carry.
It's getting way too long, man.
It's getting way too long.
Damn it.
Let me just finish this. So you got your. So you
I
got
don't
your.
think we've actually answered any of the questions you had.
Mm,
I'm sorry, man.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to the surefire, stick
Five-
to the points now.
5 tool rule. You got your axe. You got your saw, which is all these are cutting implements.
Yeah.
You got your belt knife. You got something like a marketagen, which might be something like a spoon knife that you can do carving with, and then you've got something like an awl that you can punch holes with, and things like that. So those are all. That's the 5 tool rule. It's like those 5 tools you should be able to accomplish most of your bushcrafting experience through those 5 tools, if you know how to use them correctly.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
It's like
That's the long and the short of bushcraft.
and it goes down to life. Is what
What are you
burdens
willing
you're
to
willing
carry?
to carry.
Yes.
So to bring that back to your design,
Yes. So to bring
any
that,
knife will do.
no.
No, I'm saying any knife will do.
Why?
Because the bushcrafting thing is only one single selling point of the knife. You understand what I'm saying? So now you've got bushcrafting as a sales avenue or a selling, talking, and using point, and possibly
Yes.
bringing in a class
Yes.
into this entire marketing thing.
Yes.
Okay, so bushcraft, one avenue.
Yes.
What's the others? You can't call it a bushcrafting knife because the guy that wants a hunting knife he doesn't want to fucking know anything about a bushcraft knife.
But that's not the market I'm trying to hit.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares?
You're not trying to hit a market because you don't know what the fucking market is. That's the point I'm trying to make.
So you can use it. You can use the bushcrafting as an avenue to sell that production knife.
Yes, I understand that. I
Yeah, but the
understand that.
bushcrafting, if you're now making a bushcrafting knife, you're cutting your potential sales market to less than 1%.
I understand that, but we're only talking about this one specific design. I've
Okay,
got
so
many
why have we spent so much time on this one?
because it's a passionate design that I've got passion
made
behind.
the decision already that
Yeah,
business has got no place with passion. Business is business.
Yeah.
Emotion, making the thing, doesn't exist. The warm and fuzzy feeling you get once you've made it, that's done once you've sold it.
Well,
There is no room for emotion in a business decision.
Yes. Yes.
And the hang-ups you have from making the knife, I'm calling it hang-ups for lack of other word, the hang-ups or the drawbacks you have as a maker is you get emotionally invested in the piece. And while you're making it, you're in your own head trying to think of ways of selling it. All right. It's clear bushcraft is one avenue.
Whatever.
Okay. So from a marketing perspective, it is not the one you should be hitting because it's 1% of your potential market has even heard of bushcrafting and is interested in a bushcraft knife.
True.
So
True. Make other
financial, make a knife. Don't give it a name. And if you give it a name, give it the T1, the trade one.
TTS Model 1.
Don't go Black Dragon Forge fucking model blah 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 like I did.
Honey
Yeah,
Badger.
from the D1 right through to the D26 is where we ended up.
Jesus.
Yeah. And on the D2 I had to explain that it wasn't the fucking steel, that was the model name, the Dragon 2.
The Dragon 2, yeah.
Because I was lazy ass. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, I had one semi-production knife which was called the Raiden because the guy who ordered the first one
It's Raiden,
was
yeah.
Raiden.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Well, it's a cool name because it's from,
That is a cool name, same as Gandalf. You understand what I'm saying? And that do that fucking magic and you
Dude,
could
we are gonna do for Brooklyn Knife Show. We're gonna do a knife called the Gandalf.
No, I mean,
and that's what's gonna happen, bro.
hold on. You
Come
guys
on.
came together, did the fucking Fricky or the whatever, the Jeffrey.
Strike
Hold on,
the 30 wall.
hold on.
Yes.
And you made one of them. You had an entire campaign going, building up to Brooklyn Knife Show, and once that knife was done, you just let it go. All the energy that you invested in marketing that thing went out the fucking tubes.
Yeah.
That is a brilliant knife. People know the Jeffrey. I personally think it's the weirdest fucking name ever, but I understand the rationale, and it's part of the thing why it became a thing.
Yeah.
Why haven't you made more?
Yeah.
Apparently, you don't need money. You're financially independent.
No, we should.
Why don't you just do a smaller, more production scaled down
should.
version that you can actually make in 4 hours
We should. Yeah.
and sell it for 600 rand?
Yeah. Yeah, we should.
Why do I say 600 Rand? People think 600 Rand and thinking, fuck no, I don't want to make a cheap ass knife.
Well, you sell more of them.
And what are you trying to do?
You're trying to sell volume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why?
Because you want to make money.
No.
because you want to get your name out.
Exactly.
Well, you also want to make money.
Well, that's based on
Part
the
of it,
first one.
yes.
If you've done the costing, you can make a knife in 4 hours, and the average cost of your steel is 10 Rand for that knife. You're going to make fucking money selling at 600 Rand.
Yeah.
That's why Francois
You understand what I'm saying?
is doing those pocket fixes and those little daggers.
Why?
Because it's quick and easy.
No, that you think. Have you spoken to him and asked him why he's building those knives? Who are you selling those knives to?
He's selling them through African custom now.
No, he's selling them local. There's just one avenue.
Okay.
He's not making a knife specifically for African custom knives that they can resell. It's just the knife they happen to like and he's supplying them. Understanding why people are doing things versus thinking that, I mean, my dad did the same. And it's something that has pissed me off millions of times over my lifetime. But I find myself repeating this quite often. It's either you think you know or you know. And if you think you know that you don't fucking know. Easy example. How many chairs are at the top here?
No idea.
No idea.
Yeah, you can guess. And that's what a lazy ass employee will do. I think there's 20. So get off your fucking lazy ass and go and count them so we all know. I wouldn't be asking the question if I didn't want the exact answer.
Yes.
You can't run a business on guesswork. Some of it is done on guesswork. Okay, and that's why it's called a guesstimate. Because I'm estimating, but there's a bit of guesswork in there.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? This is when you run through that spreadsheet on costing. You kind of have to guess how many knives you'll be able to grind on a 36 because it's beaten up before you start burning the steel or burning your fingers, or the cost comparison between getting a new belt in at X amount of money halfway through the life of this one, because it'll speed up the production process. But by speeding up the process, you're also adding more money onto this specific knife, but hopefully you can recost it or recoup it over 10, 15 knives. So you're hoping on that when you do the initial calculation, and when you do the first, second beta build, then you can confirm what your guessing was, and you get more accurate and more accurate and more accurate. By the time you've got 10, 20 of these things done, costings now, you can take N690 and you know that the profile is done. I know that I'll be able to grind fucking 20 knives with one belt. I know this because I've done this in the past and not trying to burn my fingers. I didn't overheat the blade at any single point of time. It never went over 120 degrees, blah, 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 because I kept on using fresh belts. And those fresh belts, I knocked down, say, for instance, 5 Klingspor Blues at 36 grit at 48 Rand, or it's now 67 Rand a belt versus Actirox at 200 and something Rand a belt. But on one Actirox, I could grind 20 as opposed to blah, 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 blah. But at number 20, I was burning the edge. So is it worth spending the 200 Rand where I can actually get 4, let's call it 4 other belts? You understand what I'm saying? Because every quarter I get to grind with a new belt, or I can grind 20 knives with the same belt, but I know that the last 2 are going to be fairly blunt.
Yeah, and it's also
so this fits the way that you work and your costing works. So this is that understanding and knowing.
And then
so get back to your point. Design a knife that you can make in 4 hours. This is the challenge. Design a knife that you can make in 4 hours. Do the costing on it. And you realize that in 4 hours you can sell a knife for 450 Rand and actually make money off of it. And then see what else you can make in 4 hours to sell for the same amount of money.
4 hours.
And then I can show you a little trick where I spent 15 minutes making a set of dice out of 16 by 16 square bar and selling them for 150 Rand for the 2 little dice. That is 1,200% profit in that.
Oh, when my last trip to the Looney Farm, I had to do
and that is making money.
I had to do a financial plan on knife
When you
making.
say to the loony.
The psychiatric hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's funny farm. I like it as funny farm.
Oh,
There's interesting people there.
It's like fucking your explanation of what's the other thing we were on about this when you just came in? Where is the 10-year-old glasses?
Yeah, the 10-year-old eyes, yeah.
Yes.
Got weird expression.
Yes.
Got weird experience. But I had to do the financial plan or a business plan for knife making because it's working at the null is going to kill me.
Yes.
So I did it, and then you start to work out because I make tongs, I make knives. I'm not going to make hammers anymore; it's just too much fucking work. And then I want to make Damascus because there's a market to sell Damascus billets.
Yes. Until you crunch the numbers, then that business will flat.
Yeah. So I had to do that plan. Then you start seeing if I can make 5 of those knives in a day, and this is my cost.
Yeah.
I can make X amount of money per day.
No, you can make X amount of money's worth of product a day.
Yeah, product a day, yeah. Because the thing is, okay, I can
making it and selling it, 2 different fucking things.
I can make all this stuff. It's like I can make a set of tongs in an hour.
Yes.
So in a day, I can make 8 to 10 sets of tongs.
Yes.
But can I sell 8 to 10 sets of tongs a day? No.
Yes.
Because the market in South Africa isn't big enough.
No, you haven't created the market. Saying that the market is not big enough, you've got no fucking clue.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what the market is.
Yes.
And to try and market tongs overseas is stupid because...
Well, shipping.
Shipping. Exactly.
Done. Stop.
Yeah. In order to ship overseas...
No, shipping. Just that's enough.
Yeah. To sell something overseas, the product has got to be worth more than the shipping.
Yeah. To ship to the US from South Africa per kilogram, $75.
Jeepers.
I've done the costing. I ship 4 packages a month to the US.
You know what you're talking about.
I've done the costing. This is what I do. This is how I earn my living.
Yeah.
You understand? Knowing, not thinking.
Yeah.
So that's why. So working through that financial plan, you can see what you can achieve in a month, but now you have to see, okay, what can I actually sell in a month?
No, that's a different problem. That's a different department's problem.
Different department's problem.
And that's the problem I have with financial plans, is they don't account for real life. That's an accountant's view on a business health. Okay, you do a financial plan to what? To achieve what? You want to go borrow money. They ask you for the financial plan.
Yeah.
That's why. Where do you get the guidelines for a financial plan? From a fucking bank.
From a bank.
Yeah. So why would you want to base a business on a financial plan that you got from a bank that's only interested in keeping your money in your account for as long as possible, so that they can make money off of lending your money for other people, and then pay you measly interest on it? You understand where I'm going?
Yeah.
So doing a base cost estimate, reverse engineering, and saying, look, how much money do you need to maintain your current lifestyle?
Yeah, that was part of the exercise. So
So how much money do you need? 100 rand.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to know that. And 90% of the people listening to this don't know what they need by the end of the month.
I know what I need because I had to sit down and work it out.
Yes. What is the bare minimum I can get away with? And this means buying coffee and not fucking Nescafe or Douwe Egberts or your percolator or blah, blah, blah. What do you need? Not want. Need at the end of the month. Who is going to die if I don't have this? And as you can tell, I can afford to skip a couple of meals.
Yeah.
But doing that bare basic thing, if it all goes pear-shaped today, at the end of the month, what do I need for me and my family to survive? Knowing that is probably the most important thing in business. Then you know what you need to get to. Because we all have this misconception, because I get 20,000 Rand a month as a salary, I need 20,000 Rand. Fuck, you don't. You probably only need a third of that. Because it's amazing, if you only earn 5,000 Rand a month, you live on 5,000 Rand.
Yes.
And I mean, I've been working.
And then you get a nice payday, you do a show or whatever, and then you got 25,000 Rand, and it won't last you 5 months. It only lasts you like fucking a month. Your
expenditure rises to meet your income.
And the more that income rises, the more the expenditure rises, and it's not coupled. It is completely disproportionate.
Yeah.
Completely disproportionate. Because the more you earn, the more you qualify for credit, and the more you use on credit, and the more you use the credit, the easier it becomes to spend money that you don't have, and that's how people fall into that little deep hole.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm there constantly.
Well, one of the guys I knew, his brother-in-law or something was in business, and the guy says, "How do you sleep at night knowing you owe the bank like 8 million?" He says, "Fucking easily. They're the stupid idiots who gave me the money.
Everything over $1 million is their problem, not mine." Yeah.
Anyways, guys, I think that was a great way to start and finish this podcast. Niels, everybody knows where to find you, but give a shout out to yourself.
Go on to Google, search Niels van der Berg.
Black Dragon Forge.
Yeah, don't even.
My man.
Yeah, Black Dragon Forge. So on Instagram at Black Dragon Forge, on Facebook at Black Dragon Forge will get you my company information, or Niels van der Berg. I'm the guy in the photo swinging the hammer.
There we go. And Niels does courses. How many times a month?
BlackDragonForge.com.
Yeah. Just get all the information there.
A quick question before we go.
Yes, sir.
When you're submitting for Mastersmith?
As soon as the US government will let me into the country again. So I could have done it 3 years ago, but then I had the shoulder injury and I decided to put it off for a year. Last week we got completely screwed over. This year completely screwed over. So it is on the plan for next year, but I'm not too excited about it. Not getting too excited about it.
It's a lot of stress.
No, it's not that. It is. I don't want to go through the rigmarole of making all those knives, and then some other fucking bureaucrat says, "Hey, you can't go."
Yeah,
because you can only submit in person. So as soon I will start getting excited and start planning for it. As soon as I am 100% confident that I'll be able to not just buy a ticket, but actually go through TSA on the other side. In other words, enter the country legally. But barring that, I do have a plan. If you see me buy a rowboat, you don't hear from me for 3 or 4 months. And you see all of a sudden on social media I'm popping up as a vacation in Mexico. Then the only thing between me and the US is jumping a fence, and apparently you can do that. I want to submit next year. I want to submit next year, and there is a plan in place. I wanted to kick that plan off. It was 5-6 weeks ago, but then I got confirmation that we still can't fly this year. So the problem I have is that the cut and bend has got an expiry date. I understand it no longer has, but I haven't got confirmation because I haven't asked it. So as soon as the cut and bend doesn't have an expiry, then by all means I will do it.
Are you going to do that with Kevin?
Yeah. So you don't the physical test, the Master Smith cut and bend test. You can do local with any Master Smith overseeing, and then it's submitting. Yeah,
fantastic.
So the Damascus for my cut and bend knife is made. It is like so. It's just a thick ass billet of 360 odd layers. And that's one is a quite an interesting one. Same specs, but it has to be same spec as the journeyman cut and bend. But it's now own Damascus and the Hidden Tang.
Hidden Tang?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Don't give master tickets to someone with a cool fucking beard, otherwise I've had 4. Yeah? Because I swear a lot, I should have a master ticket. No. So, that is a bit of a heavy one. So the presentation knives, I personally think that's the easy part.
Right. Great.
Right.
Mr. Niels van der Berg, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you for driving out all the way, man. Appreciate it.
All through 17 municipalities. Right.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, man.
That was great.
But I want to add something else.
Yes.
How many questions? What questions have you got on there?
You guys.
Because it's not having this.
Yeah.
But picking 3 or 4 questions. And just having me answer those. As a shorter version that you could release. Either prior or next to this one. Will get you more releases. And more exposure for your guest.
True. That's great. That's a great one. So we edit this video to that, and then get that out there. We can get it to you, and you can edit it. Eh?
No, I don't need the video. I've got the audio.
Yeah. So we're going to record another one now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And we'll stick to just this.
Okay.
And you can edit the
Right.
intro. You don't have to do that.
So
Just wait.
Yeah, dude.
So you got.
Yeah. Okay.
No, there's a guy that's interested in a Firefly. I told him.
I don't have stock.
Yeah, I told him we got bulk stock.
Yeah.
But he's still sending you all these details.
Excellent. Thanks, Rick. Vooral vir toelhole. Maak dit 'n nota op die bord dat ons môreoggend 'n Firefly kos.
Nou, dat is best goed te sê. Maar dit sê dis meer net
Okay, so kyk vir my of hulle op my production schedule hou wat sê een casting furnace, een Firefly, een blader, so een van elkeen elke dag.
Okay.
Wat wil sê dat ek moet Woensdag al een gehad het.
Alright.
Okay, so gaan check net vooral van waar is die Firefly wat hulle gister op Woensdag gekast het.
Okay.
Right, let's go.
okay. So first question from Mr. Niels van den Berg is the business of knife making. Right. We spoke about that little in depth on the podcast. But what would you say are some of the fundamental things that somebody needs to think about when running a business, especially in the knife making industry?
Well, first thing you need to realize is that business is business and knife making is knife making. As a knife maker, you only supply the product.
Yes.
As a business, you want to sell that product for a profit.
Yeah.
Done. That's the best advice I can give you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Run it as a business.
Yes.
Understand business principles.
know what it costs you and know what you can sell it for.
Yeah.
And know how big your market is.
Well, as the manufacturer, that's it.
Yeah.
But as the business owner, it all depends on what you want to do. If you are wanting to sell a product to resellers, in other words, people that resell your stuff, your costing needs to incorporate their discount, normally a minus 30%. Okay, then once you've got your price, for instance, 1,000 Rand minus 30% now puts me on 700 Rand. Okay, I can't just sell it to them at 700 Rand because I need to incorporate shipping into that. So now you've got a reseller. Don't just order one knife at a time. He would order X amount. So you need to set the limit. If you've got 5 types of knives and he wants a spread, what's your minimum order quantity per unit on per model?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And all of that, plus your shipping then, for instance, if you're saying, look, if you want to stock my knife, this is a very hard sell. If you stock my knives, I've got 5 models, you need to minimum order 5 of each model. That's 25 knives.
Yeah.
What you're going to do is you're going to build those knives, you're going to cost them, you're going to package them, you're going to weigh them, and then you're going to split the cost to, for instance, the US, to the UK, to Australia, and work the average cost into per knife so that you know what the costing on shipping would be on that knife. Then you've got a minimum and maximum sales price. So a suggested retail price or a maximum. So for instance, you want to sell that knife at 1,000 Rand, but you cannot sell it for more than 1,200 Rand to be competitive. If you want to discount the knife, you cannot sell it for lower than, for instance, 800 Rand. So all of that you need to discuss with your potential reseller.
Yeah.
But they're going to ask these questions, so you need to know about those questions.
Yes.
And you need to build it into the cost of your knife.
Yes.
This is where a lot of knife makers fall short because they've never dealt with business negotiating on bulk or even just having to do any business. So
And
getting a stall at the flea market and then selling your knives, you're going to sell at what? 1,000 Rand.
Yeah. Was that your recommended retail?
Okay. Now, you are then in direct competition with the guys you're wanting to resell.
Yeah.
So is that something you want to do? Because most resellers will not buy from you because you're selling out of hand to anyone.
Yes.
And that's why I stopped that locally. I stopped selling knives locally to anyone.
Yeah.
I only sold to resellers for 3 years. And that was brilliant for me internationally. So it made me money, but it didn't build my brand.
Right.
So you need to understand that there is a difference between the two.
Yes.
So I decided to then opt to build the brand through building more expensive, elaborate pieces, which gave me the exposure. And then if someone wanted something, and I would constantly say, hey, remember, I still build these things, but I wouldn't focus my marketing campaign around those knives.
Yeah.
I would much rather assist a reseller in their marketing campaign, leveraging off of my followers, promoting a special that they had, or letting my following base know that they have received stock and it should be on their website. But I also always preferred for them to receive the stock and then have it already for sale. So it's loaded onto their system. They are selling now. I'm just helping them sell. Because it's beneficial for me to help all of my resellers sell those knives, because the quicker they can get rid of them, the quicker I will get an order. So understanding the entire process before you just blindly go and approach resellers.
And that gives them also a lot of confidence in you if they know that you understand
because
all these things.
And it makes the negotiation easier. And while you're negotiating and you're not understanding because of the lack of I don't know, business understanding, ask. Because a lot of these guys, 90% of the resellers out there resell based on reputation. They're not out there to screw you over. And the worst thing you can do is ask advice from another knife maker. How do you deal with Bob? Because the deal you want to set up with Bob might be completely different from the deal that Bob set up with Chris.
100%.
So long term is sit and decide what you want to achieve, and then break it down into achievable plans to get there. And it's easy to say, but
you have to do
asking how people sell through resellers will get you started.
Yes.
Building your pricing structure surrounding a reseller and building that into your pricing structure from day one will help. Because otherwise, you now need, for instance, what happened to me a couple of years ago when the first guys internationally wanted to resell my knives. I was selling at 1,200 Rand a knife. Okay. They wanted a discount, 30%, which we now gave them, but with a minimum order quantity of X. They paid me, then they pay for shipping, the whole thing. That's also something that you will need to discuss with anyone. So my prices don't include shipping. It's like buying a bread at Pick and Pay. It's the onus is on me and my costing to go and get that bread. So I sold at 1,200 Rand as an average, and I think I said they needed to do like minimum of 5. But then they added, and all of a sudden they're selling this thing for serious dollars. And you work the dollar just back to the Rand value, they were selling it for like almost 3 times the amount. And it took a while for me to understand why they came to that price. And it's because I didn't have these additional buffers built in. The guy that imports it needs to make money. They want to make 30%. Then the guy that resells it wants to make 30%. You understand what I'm saying? There's that importing cost, there's a shipping cost, there's a blah, blah, blah. All of these costs add up. And then you see that the price that you manufacture the knife for, or that you sold the knife for, and you actually made a profit on it, was only 30% of the actual retail cost.
Sorry.
But there's a difference between building that business and just making a knife and selling it.
For sure.
So pricing a knife on when you start is fairly easy. You don't have to think about all of this. I received the advice from Etienne Foster 12 odd years ago. Take your material cost times 3 and sell it. Done. Because that'll finance the next 3 knives. And when you get to knife number 4 and you sell that, it now finances 10, 12 other knives. As long as you don't go stupid on your handle material, because 10 Rand's worth of 5160 will get you a knife. But then people want to put 500 Rand worth of fucking bull on there. And because I now use 500 Rand a bull, now all of a sudden that knife is worth 2 grand. No. It's still just worth the 10 Rand of steel you had on there. You understand what I'm saying?
100%.
So the guys are then going, but if I make it out of Damascus, what? Your third knife out of Damascus, you think you're going to sell it? No. You still don't know the first thing about making a proper knife. When I say a proper knife, I don't mean any disrespect.
Okay. 100%.
Right. Next question.
Next question.
Where do you find your drive or your inspiration?
Got a lot of debt.
I've got a lot of debt. That's a great way to answer that question.
No, it's business.
Yeah.
business.
I want to make money. I want to pay accounts. I want to be able to get to the States in 3 years and spend 6 months not working, setting up a workshop. I need finance to do that.
Yeah.
That shit ain't going to happen by itself. I'm not going to win the lotto,
Yeah.
especially if I don't play it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So planning. It's not because of the love of the game or I enjoy what I'm doing. That's just a fucking bonus. I am happy in my own head. Whether I watch a movie or whether I make a knife, it's the same thing. I'm just spending time. I've decided to spend time on making money. I just happen to have a manufacturing process, producing a knife that I like. I enjoy. The making part, I don't enjoy that. The talking crap with other people while I'm doing this, they enjoy that. So where do I find my inspiration? I don't know.
Got a lot of debt. Wow. Got a lot of debt. What's the next question?
We've already spoken about the Mastersmith. That's the plan is for next year.
Yeah.
Provided you can guarantee that you can travel.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Then why daggers?
Why daggers? Dude, someone mentioned, and I think it was Stuart Smith, mentioned that, I think it's on the first class. He said daggers are just scary to make. The most difficult knife to make. And I made my first dagger, and I agreed full-heartedly. So how do you make something easy? By doing it more and more and more. And how do you refine your skill the quickest? Is by tackling not the easy job, but the most difficult job.
Makes sense.
So started making them, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the small little detail that I can't put into a fucking Bowie knife. Well, you can.
You can.
Yeah, but once again, it's that principle of why do I want to position what I'm doing exactly the same place as literally thousands of other knife makers in the world.
You want to be unique.
How many guys are making daggers versus how many guys are making hunting knives versus how many guys are making Bowie knives? Doing one of them every now and then doesn't make you an expert. I wanted to be the expert at making daggers. And I am another 50 years away from there.
Right.
So why daggers? It's complex, and I enjoy complex puzzles because it's pushing me more than anything else.
There's a lot of satisfaction in just watching you make something.
Especially if I fuck it up.
Yeah. But you got to understand that there's a lot of people that watch you just because it's entertaining to see you make something.
People,
quick little tip.
People don't buy knives; they buy into makers.
Yes.
And what they do, and they struggle, and people want to see you fail because it's just part of human nature. But they also are rooting for you to succeed. So just be you, man. Just do you, enjoy the process, and if you don't enjoy the process, obviously don't put it on Facebook. Every now and then I'll take. So we're getting off topic. Every now and then you'll see me not post anything on Facebook for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Why? Because I had enough of other people.
I get like that. I do like 50 live feeds in a day, and then I'm like, next 2 weeks, I'm like, fuck it, I've had enough.
But now, if I am making something,
Yeah.
The aim on my social media is to share the process. Mm-hmm. And it all started to get people to understand what goes into making the best quality knife that I can make.
Mm.
It's not just a machine that I feed on the one side and pop, it pops out on the other side. That's stock removal, and I don't want to do that. No, only joking.
Oh, snap, Trent.
No,
snap.
if you want to make a production knife, you're going to plan a production knife, but these aren't production.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. So I want to make the best knife I can make for me.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the time I spend.
Yeah.
If it's not right, if I can redo it. If it's not right, you redo it. That blade comes out of the warp, comes out of the heat treat warped. It means what? I still wasn't normalized properly.
Yeah.
So I can break the thing, you go remake the steel, and you redo that because that there was the issue.
Yes.
And I'm not going to master those small little things by making one every 10 years.
Right.
And it's also practicing the most difficult knife for Bladesmith. My theory is that it'll make the rest easier.
Yeah,
but in practice, no, it's not going to.
Okay.
I think that was what is that? What's the next one?
The next one is gaming weapons, or the
What?
collaborations with
Oh, the game company.
Yes.
It's
Game
just a job, man.
Yeah.
just a job.
Phone me up, say, hey, we want you to build this. Okay, what's your budget? This is, yeah, it makes financial sense for me to build this. Not just the money, but the exposure that is coupled with it.
Yes.
It is not millions.
Mm.
I'm talking followers. You're not going to gain 2,000 followers on one build. No. But it is worthwhile.
Yes.
And it's fun.
Yes.
Mainly because I get paid,
Yeah.
which pisses me really off when I don't get paid.
Yeah. But you've done a couple though.
Yes, I've done 2.
You've done 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will not
One
do
of them
more.
was Shikiro Shadows Die Twice.
Yes, the katana, which I decided
Yes.
to keep.
Yes.
So not getting paid
Yes.
for it.
Yes.
Yes, because I kept it.
Yes.
But the
Assassin's Creed.
Odyssey, the Broken Spear of Leonidas,
Yes.
and then Assassin's Creed Valhalla,
Yes.
the Evor's Axe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
That
were
was-
good builds.
That was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next
Well
question.
done.
Do you want to talk about your typical day?
Typical day? No.
No.
It's just a typical day.
Yeah.
Making shit and trying to not spend downtime.
Downtime.
And just not be productive.
Yeah.
Because if I walk out of here and I feel that I wasn't productive, I might as well have just stayed in bed and slept in for the entire day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a shit feeling to have.
It is.
Yeah.
It
So I
is.
would look back and I'm thinking, fuck, we actually accomplished a lot today. And when I say we, it's not me particularly. The company has to make money. And there is a rand value per day that we have to hit. And it's very difficult because we don't manufacture and sell on a day-to-day basis. So you need to plan because business breeds ups and downs. But to get back to the point, if it wasn't a productive day, but you do get them. Like a week, you won't have 5-6 productive days, or productive days, or won't seem like that. And then all of a sudden, all those little parts come together, and you've got product that you push up, and then all of a sudden, hey, you've got 50 burners and 30 forges in stock, and you're thinking, fuck, that happened really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't happen quickly. It happens because of planning.
Yeah. Right. How do you refill your tank?
Leaded or unleaded? I haven't been on a vacation in 3, maybe 4 years. I don't need to because there's nothing draining me. So anything that financially, you get that one guy. Conversation with them is just mentally and physically draining. Just get rid of those people.
Yeah.
As easy as that.
Well, that's why you have caller ID, and you can see I don't have the mental capacity to deal with this person.
No, it's just, why is that person phoning me? Fixing the problem is better than putting a plaster on. Social media is happy with, it's rife with the what's that? Toxic friends. Yeah.
Once you get them out of your life, it's better for you.
Okay.
Way better.
And then the next question is, do you read? And if so, what do you read?
I read a crap house. So I was showing Sunette, my wife, I think it was on Monday, 150 weeks, according to Kindle, 150 weeks straight reading. I do an average of 4 and a bit hours of reading a day. Some days it'll take me. I had this one book, and the character is walking up a staircase, and I must have read that one passage about 6 times. I kept on falling asleep. So I love reading. I love fantasy, absolute fantasy. Mages, dragons, completely mind-numbing fantasy.
Okay.
Done.
That's awesome.
That is probably the way that I unwind. But I read every single night. And books, physical books. I love books. They do slap you on your forehead when you fall asleep in bed with them, which is not the case with the phone. The problem is now that I've got lying in bed with the phone, it's nice in winter, I've got a 4-meter charging cable.
Yes.
And I've now woken up 2 or 3 times with me like wound up. It feels like an anaconda strangling you. And I've lost 2 phones in that fashion. where the charging plug inside the
shucks.
phone broke because I fall asleep with it. But it is now budgeted for. I literally have an emergency cell phone budget, which I'm saving up for.
That's great.
Yeah.
And
So-
that's
Yeah, the
All
last
of the
one.
question.
Yeah, the last one we had was production knives, pros and cons.
Make a lot of knives fairly quickly to what I believed was an acceptable standard. They sold well. They're not going to make you world famous. But they do bring in the money once you've got the sales side of things finished. Yeah. So production knives don't make you money. Selling production knives makes you money.
Yeah.
A production knife is a knife that you can do thousands of in a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to do them. And make them smaller rather than larger.
Yes.
So
because-
scale down the Jeffrey to a 150
pocket.
mil blade,
Yeah.
and you'll be making money.
Yeah.
Was to hand sand it.
No, you're not going to hand sand a production knife.
No.
You're going to hand sand a production knife. I'm going to call you fucking stupid because
No.
that's not production.
Belt finish.
You're making a knife in the same fashion you would a once-off. No. What's your target price? 650 rand knife? There's no fucking hand sanding. But
No.
learn to grind. You can grind to 1,200 grit. And that grind, if you know what you're doing, can look better than 90% of the custom knives out there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And setting a jig and then learning to grind with that jig to do production knives. Doesn't matter how good you can grind freehand. If you freehand grind, you will take years to replicate plunges. And another thing you need to remember from production knives, and this is something that was told to me very early on, and I took it to heart. Someone orders your Nubble, your Model D30 now versus 5 years from now. They get the same knife.
Okay.
Up to 1/10 of a millimeter, exactly the same knife throughout all dimensions. That's a production knife.
Yeah, well, with
If you're still plucking your handles on and then it's block scales and you have to shape everything off, you're not making a production knife. If you're setting in and you're spending a day making 50 handles, now we're talking production.
because
If you can pull in anyone off the street and with an hour's worth of training, they can do your handles. That's a production knife.
because Francois could see on his production knives, he even has the leather for the sheaths laser cut.
And that's just one small little thing. Now
Yeah.
you need to weigh up whether on a production knife, it's easier just to have someone else manufacture the sheath. Because you're not gaining anything by hand stitching your own sheaths.
Yeah.
No, he's trained his wife, his kids, his gardener, everybody to stitch the
Yeah,
sheaths.
if you're not paying them, you can't count it.
No, he pays his garden. Yeah.
If you're not paying him, if he's not an employee, and one thing, never hire someone you can't fire. Never, listen very carefully, never hire someone you can't fire. You can't fire your wife. It's your business. Either it's a family business or it's your business. Your choice. Yeah, because if you're building your costing based on what your wife is doing and all of a sudden she doesn't want to do it anymore because she can, she's your wife. She doesn't like this whole idea of now putting pressure on her just because she helped you out and now she has 50 sheets to do.
Yeah.
That's going to fuck you over completely.
Yeah.
Run it as a business.
Yeah.
And it will be successful. It's
Yes.
easy as that. Keep
Yes.
in mind that you are a manufacturer, and then separately, your split personality is the reseller. And the reseller is the sales guy that everyone hates. Over promising because he doesn't have to deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well,
production that has to deliver.
well, my boss once went over to the Middle East with one of the marketers, and he came back and he said, "I've never lied so much in my life before."
Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
the thing is, that specific marketer, he would promise stuff to the customer, knowing that we probably can't do it right now.
He needs to get a foot in the door.
But if I can get the foot in the door and we
Make
can
it happen.
we'll
Yeah,
make it fucking happen.
that's a sales guy, man.
That's the sales guy.
That's a sales guy.
I mean, we once developed a armor piercing round in like 6 months based on another. It's a similar cartridge. It's like, it's not qualified in this one. Oh, well, we'll fucking do a mini qualification. But in order to get that business, we needed that product in the mix. So we made a plan.
Exactly.
And we wouldn't have got that sale if it wasn't for that. Right.
But that's a quick round of shoot firing. Thanks. Shoot firing.
Yeah.
Shoot firing questions. Yeah. Shoot firing questions.
Shoot firing questions
firing,
now a
whatever.
thing. Yeah.
Right.
That's a thing.
Excellent.
That's a
Cool.
thing.
Gentlemen, thank you for having
Brother.
me.
Thanks,
I
Ross.
really appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
man.
your time, Niels.
Absolute pleasure, man.
Right.
There you go. And that's a short one we can release for
Yeah, I'll have it out by tomorrow morning.
for like quick shoot fire.
You understand what I'm saying? See,
Yeah.
I would suggest starting off and saying, hey, okay, we're going to ask you questions and we just want, and it is either, so you ask one question, he asks one question. When you ask the question, he has to push the interviewee to stay on question, on question,
topic.
on topic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Answer the question. And what you can also do is time. Saying these are 2-minute things. And have one of these fucking F times.
Yeah.
Because that'll get a lot of questions.
Yes.
And you can split it up through
Yes.
the podcast.
Yes. Yeah, you
You know,
can.
what's it? One of the podcasts I listen to is a lot of Navy SEALs. I'll get to it now before it runs down your leg.
A list of interview questions.
Yeah, I need to take the piss. Oh, so Leah's giving me a compound bow, eh?
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, 70 pound. I really like this knife, bro, by the way.
Good. What mark you have? By your furnaces. By your furnaces. I was thinking of you. Yeah. The very first one I used cable and then padded it. But it does last. I'm not going to put my name on something just because of the cheap furnace. Well, that's why I'm getting the sale on the furnaces. Is because the guys that are buying cheap are getting cut or getting completely screwed. Well, I've got across 2 guys now on OLX that download my photos and re-upload it and try to get me on the furnace. Yeah, the furnaces business is fucking 10 times that of the that's not even advertising. No, I also that's it. I also do the last patch towards the whole.
Well, one of your clients, Zach, so I contacted before Crystal.
Yes, I give them your number.
Yeah. He was in Boxburg. Yeah, he's in Boxburg. So
Yeah.
I made it quickly. He phoned me the Friday. I made it quickly and on the Saturday morning, and I said it was ready. And we met at Lakeside. He paid me money.
Yeah. So I give them all your number. Up to a point. We are. I did a prototype. Oh, sorry, I didn't stop this. This thing is still recording.
So much.
Stop recording.
Oh, did you forget to stop?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Is that video going to be saved?
2 solid state drives. Start inbox.